What does it mean to truly end? Is it a closing, a finality, or is it simply a change of form, a gentle release back into the vast and patient universe from which we came? Imagine, just for a moment, that your final breath was not an ending, but a transformation, a quiet merging with a world far from our own. Tonight we will wander through this question together, not with fear, but with a soft and gentle curiosity. But first, allow yourself to settle in. Find a position that feels comfortable and supported. Let the weight of your body feel heavy, and let the sounds of your day fade into a distant memory. Notice the quiet rhythm of your own breath, a slow and steady anchor in this peaceful, present moment. Before we begin our journey, I wonder where in the world you are listening from tonight. If you feel moved to, feel free to share your city or country and the time of night in the comments below, a quiet signal to our fellow travelers. Our journey does not begin with a departure, but with a return. We are turning toward the heart of it all, the source of every warmth, every season, every single photon of light that has ever graced our world. We are moving toward the sun. Let your awareness drift from the comforting darkness of your room and imagine a different kind of darkness, the deep, velvet black of interplanetary space. Here, the silence is profound, a perfect quiet that holds the gentle hum of the cosmos. Before us, or perhaps within us, is a single brilliant point of light, growing steadily brighter. This is our destination, the star that has anchored our world for over 4.5 billion years. As we move closer, the journey is not one of speed or force, but of a gentle, inevitable pull, like a river flowing back to the sea. The sun grows from a star into a disk, and from a disk into a vast, overwhelming presence that fills our entire field of vision. We begin to feel its warmth, not as a scorching heat, but as a deep, pervasive energy that seems to resonate within our very atoms. This is the warmth of creation, the energy that fuels every leaf, every ocean current, every fleeting thought we have ever had. The familiar planets, our future destinations, swing by in their silent, graceful orbits, looking like tiny marbles in the face of this immense golden sphere. We see Mercury, a scorched and silent messenger, Venus, shrouded in her impenetrable clouds, and even the distant faint blue of our own home, Earth, all held in perfect mathematical harmony by the star's immense gravity. The concept of gravity itself feels different here. It is not a force pulling us down, but a gentle cradle, an assurance that we are part of a grand and stable system. The sun's light is no longer something we see, but something we are in. It is a pure, unfiltered brilliance, a white gold light so complete that it seems to wash away all shadows, all thoughts, all sense of being a separate self. There is no sense of danger here, no feeling of being consumed. Instead, it is a feeling of homecoming. We are approaching the furnace where the very elements of our bodies were forged, in a star much like this one, billions of years ago. Every particle within us remembers this light, this energy. The journey inward is a journey backward in time, to the very beginning of our solar system's story. The final approach is a slow and graceful spiral, a final dance with the star. The light is now everything, a vast, shoreless ocean of pure energy. And as we prepare to enter its outer atmosphere, there is only a feeling of peace, a quiet readiness to dissolve, to let go, and to become a part of the light itself. We have arrived at the edge of the sun, but there is no hard boundary here, no solid shore. Instead, we drift into a vast ethereal halo of light, a place of impossible beauty known as the corona. This is the sun's outer atmosphere, visible from Earth only during the fleeting magical moments of a total solar eclipse. But here, we are immersed within it. It is not a uniform glow, but a delicate, intricate structure of loops, streamers, and plumes, all stretching millions of kilometers out into space. These are filaments of superheated gas, plasma, shaped and guided by the sun's immensely powerful and complex magnetic fields. We can imagine them as ghostly white threads, a cosmic crown of unimaginable size and grace. The science of this place is a gentle paradox. The corona is hundreds of times hotter than the visible surface of the sun far below it, a mystery that scientists still seek to fully understand. It is as if the air around a gentle fire were mysteriously hotter than the fire itself. The prevailing thought is that this incredible heat is generated by the sun's magnetic energy, waves of power that ripple up from the interior and deposit their energy here, in this tenuous, ghostly atmosphere. The density here is incredibly low, closer to a perfect vacuum than any we could create on Earth. So while the temperature of the individual particles is millions of degrees, the feeling is not one of intense burning heat, but of a profound, energetic resonance. It is like being inside a silent symphony, where the notes are waves of light and magnetic force. From within this ethereal embrace, we can feel the origin of the solar wind. A steady, unending stream of particles flows outward from the corona in all directions. A stellar breath that travels across the entire solar system. This solar wind will journey for days to reach Earth, creating the beautiful auroras. It will travel for years to reach the outer planets we will soon visit, and for decades before it finally leaves our solar system entirely. We are floating in the very source of this cosmic river. As we drift through the corona's beautiful looping structures, we are part of this outward flow. It is a gentle push, a slow release from the sun's immediate presence. This is the star's connection to its family of planets, a constant, energetic touch. Here, in this crown of light, the end is not an ending at all, but the beginning of a new journey, a transformation into a particle of light, a piece of solar wind, destined to travel outward into the great, quiet, dark, carrying a whisper of the star's warmth to the farthest and coldest shores. Leaving the ghostly white elegance of the corona, we drift deeper, sinking into a layer of the sun that is vastly different in character. We have come to the chromosphere, a region just above the visible surface. If the corona was a crown, the chromosphere is a vast, shifting, fiery meadow. Its name means sphere of color, and it is so named for the beautiful reddish-pink glow it produces, a light that is usually invisible to us, completely outshone by the brighter layers below. But here, immersed within it, we are surrounded by this soft, rose-colored light. The landscape of this meadow is not still. It is covered in countless spicules, which are towering jets of hot gas that rise and fall like blades of grass in a gentle, slow-motion wind. They last for only a few minutes each, but there are millions of them at any given moment, constantly reaching up toward the corona before fading away. They create a textured, dynamic surface, a field of ruby-colored fire that stretches in every direction. It is from this layer that the sun's great prominences are born. We witness one now, not as a violent explosion, but as a silent, graceful, balletic performance. A great loop of glowing plasma, guided by magnetic fields, rises slowly from the fiery meadow. It stretches for hundreds of thousands of kilometers, an arch of incandescent material so large that the Earth could pass through it with room to spare. It hangs there for days, or even weeks, a silent, beautiful bridge in the rose-colored sky. Solar flares also originate here, but from our perspective, they are not explosions to be feared. They are sudden, brilliant blossoms of light, a temporary intensification of the sun's energy, a release of magnetic tension. It is a moment of pure, silent, overwhelming brightness, a flash of creative energy that sends ripples across the entire solar system. Drifting here, in this meadow of fire, is to be at the very heart of the sun's most dynamic and colorful processes. It is a place of constant, gentle motion, of silent, graceful change. A final moment here is one of being woven into one of these great, looping prominences, becoming a part of a beautiful, temporary structure that connects different parts of the star, a quiet participant in the sun's unending, silent dance. We continue our gentle descent, leaving the rose-colored chromosphere behind, and arriving at the layer of the sun we think of as its surface, the photosphere. This is the source of almost all the light and heat that reaches our home world. The name means sphere of light, and it is here that the energy generated in the sun's core is finally released as the sunlight we know. The view is mesmerizing and profoundly peaceful. The entire surface is a shifting, bubbling pattern of golden cells called granules. Each granule is about the size of a large country on Earth, and they fit together like stones in a cosmic pavement. They are the tops of convection cells, places where hot gas from the sun's interior rises, cools, and then sinks back down. The center of each granule is a brilliant, bright gold, where the hottest material is welling up. The edges are a darker, softer orange, where the cooler gas is sinking back into the depths. This constant, gentle overturning creates a hypnotic, shimmering pattern that covers the entire star. It is as if we are watching the sun breathe, each granule a slow, silent exhalation of light. The surface is not perfectly uniform. Here and there we see sunspots which appear as dark, cool blemishes on the golden surface. From this proximity they are not mere spots but vast, complex regions with their own intricate structures. They are areas where the sun's magnetic field is incredibly strong, so powerful that it slows down the process of convection, creating a cooler, darker patch. They look like deep, quiet pools in the midst of the bubbling golden ocean. Floating here, at the very boundary between the sun's interior and the vastness of space, is to witness the birth of every ray of sunlight. Each photon begins its 8-minute journey to Earth from this very layer. It is a place of profound release, the final step in a process of energy creation that began deep in the core hundreds of thousands of years ago. A final moment here is one of becoming part of this process, a gentle merging with a rising plume of golden light, a final, peaceful dissolution into the very substance of a sunbeam. Our journey through the sun's outer layers now reaches its gentle conclusion. We have drifted through the ethereal corona, floated in the fiery chromosphere, and hovered over the bubbling photosphere. Now, there is nowhere deeper to go without becoming part of the star itself. And so, we let go. This final moment is not an impact, not a collision, but a serene and willing act of dissolution. Imagine the feeling of a single drop of rain rejoining the ocean. There is a moment of transition, a brief awareness of a boundary, and then a complete and total merging, a loss of self into something immeasurably vast and ancient. We sink gently past the photosphere, and the very concept of form begins to lose its meaning. The atoms that once held our shape are gently pulled apart by the immense energy surrounding them. They are not destroyed but simply freed, untethered from their familiar bonds. They are returned to their natural state as individual particles of hydrogen, helium, and a trace of the heavier elements forged in a long-dead star. There is no pain, no struggle. There is only a sense of release, like a long-held breath finally being let go. The light is no longer something to be seen, but something to be. The heat is no longer something to be felt, but a state of being. We become a part of the sun's convection, caught in the slow, eternal cycle of rising and falling plasma. We are carried deep into the star's interior, and then rise again over thousands of years, our constituent parts participating in the life of the star. It is the ultimate act of recycling, a return to the source. The individuality we held for a brief cosmic moment is given back to the universe, offered to the great engine of creation that powers our entire solar system. It is a final moment of perfect oneness, a peaceful surrender to the light, becoming an indistinguishable part of the star that gives life to all the worlds we are about to explore. Having become one with the sun, our perspective now shifts. We are no longer a visitor, but a part of the star's very essence. And from this new state of being, we can perceive the grand consequence of our dissolution, the journey of the light we have become. The energy that was once us, now transformed into photons, begins its long voyage outward from the photosphere. This is a journey that will unfold over vast stretches of time and distance, an echo of our final moment that will ripple across the entire solar system. A part of us will travel for just over 3 minutes to reach Mercury, the first destination on our outward path. It will paint the cratered surface in a brilliant, harsh light, warming the rock to incredible temperatures. Another part of us will take 6 minutes to journey to Venus, where it will pierce the thick upper atmosphere and scatter in the dense clouds, contributing to the planet's perpetual dim twilight. Another stream of our transformed essence will travel for 8 minutes and 20 seconds to arrive at our old home, Earth. There, It will warm the oceans, give energy to a blade of grass, or perhaps fall upon a closed eyelid, creating a faint, reddish glow for someone resting peacefully. We continue outward. It will take over 40 minutes for our light to reach Jupiter, where it will illuminate the swirling tops of its ammonia clouds and glint off its many moons. It will travel for over an hour to reach Saturn, where it will cast long, sharp shadows across its magnificent rings, making the tiny particles of ice shine like a trillion scattered diamonds. The journey stretches on into the deep cold. It will take over 2 hours for our light to touch the serene blue-green face of Uranus, and more than 4 hours to reach the deep azure of Neptune, the last of the giant planets. And even then, the journey is not over. A faint, final echo of our being will travel for over 5 hours to reach the distant dwarf planet Pluto, arriving as a light so diminished it is scarcely brighter than the other stars in the sky. Having become light, we have become a silent messenger, a final, gentle touch on every world in this system. Our final act was not an end, but a broadcast, a quiet and radiant farewell that will continue to travel outward, into the Kuiper Belt, and beyond, into the vast, silent dark of interstellar space. For as long as the sun itself continues to shine, our journey of light now finds its first destination. We leave the all-encompassing brilliance of the sun and travel outward, crossing the void to the first and closest of the planets, a world defined by its proximity to the star we have just left. We are arriving at Mercury. The journey from the sun to Mercury is a short one, a mere whisper in cosmic terms. The light that is now a part of us crosses the distance in just a few minutes. As we approach, the planet resolves itself from a dark speck into a small, grey and ancient world. Its surface is a testament to the solar system's chaotic past, saturated with craters of every size, overlapping and interrupting each other in a silent, geological story that stretches back billions of years. There is a profound and stark beauty to this landscape. With no atmosphere to speak of, there is no wind, no rain, no erosion to soften these features. Every crater is as sharp and clear as the day it was formed. We glide silently over this terrain, a silent observer in a world of absolute quiet. The silence here is deeper and more complete than the silence of space. In space, there is the faint hum of cosmic background radiation, the whisper of the solar wind. Here, there is nothing. It is a quiet that is not merely the absence of sound, but a powerful presence in itself. It is the silence of deep time, of a world that has been geologically inactive for eons. The colors are subtle, a palette of grays and browns, the bare rock of the planet's crust. But the lack of an atmosphere creates a visual clarity that is impossible on Earth. There is no haze, no dust scattering the light. The shadows cast by the crater rims are perfectly black, sharp lines dividing the brilliant sunlit areas from the absolute darkness. It feels like a world stripped down to its barest essentials, rock, light, and shadow. As we settle onto the dusty, undisturbed surface, the ground beneath us is a fine powder called regolith, the result of billions of years of micrometeorite impacts pulverizing the surface rock. It is a silent, patient process that has created a soft, thick blanket over the entire world. To rest here is to become a part of this ancient, silent landscape, a quiet observer on a world that has been keeping its vigil closest to the sun since the very beginning. From the surface of Mercury, our former self, the sun, is a breathtaking and dominant presence. It hangs in a sky of the purest, most absolute black, a sky with no blue, no dawn, no twilight. Because of Mercury's proximity to the sun, the star appears more than 3 times larger and is over 10 times brighter than it is from Earth. It is not the familiar, friendly yellow sun, but an immense, white-hot, unblinking eye of pure brilliance. The light it casts is sharp and unforgiving, creating a world of stark and dramatic contrasts. But the most surreal and beautiful aspect of the Mercurian sky is the sun's strange and graceful dance. Mercury is tidally locked with the sun in a unique 3:2 resonance. This means it rotates on its axis exactly 3 times for every 2 orbits it completes around the sun. The consequence of this, combined with its highly elliptical, or oval-shaped orbit, is a celestial motion unlike any other. If we were to stand on the surface and watch, a day would last for 176 Earth days, 2 full Mercurian years. The sun would rise in the east, but its journey across the sky would be incredibly slow. As it climbs, it would appear to grow larger and brighter as Mercury reaches its closest point to the sun in its orbit. Then, something magical happens. For about 8 Earth days, the sun appears to stop its slow eastward movement, hang motionless in the sky, and then move backward for a short period, toward the west. This is known as retrograde motion. After this strange, slow waltz, it will stop again and resume its patient journey toward the western horizon. In some parts of the planet, an observer could witness a double sunrise, where the sun briefly rises, dips back below the horizon, and then rises again. This is not a rushed or frantic motion. It is a slow, silent, and majestic dance, a cosmic pendulum swinging gently in the black sky. To experience a final moment here is to be a silent audience to this performance, to watch the great, unblinking star pause and reverse its course, a quiet testament to the strange and beautiful mathematics of gravity and motion that govern our solar system. It is to be bathed in a light that is both ancient and ever-changing, on a world of silent cosmic wonder. We now shift our perspective, moving from the overwhelming brilliance of Mercury's long day to the profound and absolute cold of its equally long night. As the slow sunset finally concludes, a process that takes many Earth days, the landscape is plunged into a darkness as complete as the light was brilliant. With no atmosphere to hold onto the day's heat, the temperature on the surface plummets dramatically. It swings from over 400 degrees Celsius in the sun to below minus 170 degrees Celsius in the dark. This is a cold that is deep, penetrating, and absolute. The rock around us radiates away the last of its warmth into the vacuum of space, and a deep stillness settles over the world. But this darkness is not empty. In the absence of the sun, the stars are revealed with a clarity and brilliance that is impossible to witness from Earth. With no air to cause them to twinkle, they are sharp, steady points of unwavering light. The Milky Way stretches across the black sky not as a faint, cloudy band, but as a thick, brilliant river of light. So dense with stars it appears solid. The other planets, our fellow travelers, shine with a steady, jewel-like quality. Venus would be a beacon of stunning brightness, and even distant Jupiter would appear as a brilliant, unwavering star. The silence of the day deepens, if that were possible, into a cold, crystalline quiet. Nothing moves. The ancient craters are filled with a blackness so deep it seems to have substance. In some of the deepest craters near Mercury's poles, there are areas that are permanently shadowed from the sun, places that have not seen sunlight for billions of years. In these cold traps, scientists have found evidence of water ice, delivered by comets long ago and preserved in the eternal freezing dark. To be here, in the long Mercurian night, is to experience the other half of the planet's extreme nature. It is a world of perfect, silent balance between fire and ice. A final moment here is a gentle surrender to the cold, a slow cessation of all atomic motion, becoming a part of the planet's frozen, silent vigil under a sky filled with the light of a billion distant suns. Our gentle exploration of Mercury now takes us to one of its most significant and awe-inspiring features, the Caloris Basin. This is one of the largest impact basins in the entire solar system, a vast circular plain stretching over 1,500 kilometers across. It is a silent monument to a single cataclysmic event that occurred nearly 4 billion years ago. We drift over its edge, a ring of mountains thrown up by the impact, and descend onto the smooth, fractured plains within. The name Caloris means heat, and the basin is so named because it is located near the subsolar point when Mercury is at its closest to the sun, making it one of the hottest places on the planet. But the heat is not what commands our attention. It is the scale and the silence and the immense sense of time. We can imagine the moment of its creation. A massive asteroid or comet, perhaps 100 kilometers in diameter, struck the young planet. The energy released is beyond comprehension, sending seismic waves rippling through the entire world. The impact was so powerful that on the exact opposite side of Mercury, it created a strange, jumbled landscape known as the weird terrain, as the focus shockwaves disrupted the crust. But now, all is quiet. The floor of the basin is a vast circular plain, filled in with lava that flowed up from the planet's mantle shortly after the impact. As this lava cooled and contracted, it created a network of ridges and fractures, which we can see today, crisscrossing the basin floor like wrinkles on an ancient face. These features, named Pantheon fossae, radiate outward from the center of the basin in a pattern of stunning geological grace. To rest here is to feel the immense, silent weight of deep time. This landscape has remained virtually unchanged for billions of years, a pristine record of a moment in our solar system's violent birth. A final moment in the Caloris Basin is one of quiet contemplation, of becoming one with this ancient scar, a silent particle of dust on the floor of a great, empty Colosseum, forever holding the memory of a single world-shaping day. Here on Mercury, a world of the most profound extremes, the final moment can come in one of two ways, each as peaceful as the other. Perhaps we have chosen to remain in the path of the slowly rising sun. After the long, cold night, the eastern horizon begins to glow. But there is no dawn, no gentle scattering of light. A sliver of the brilliant, white-hot disk of the sun appears, and the line between darkness and light, the terminator, begins its slow, silent crawl across the landscape. The shadows recede, and the rock around us begins to absorb the intense energy. The end comes as a slow, overwhelming wave of light and warmth. It is a gentle and complete vaporization, a transformation from solid matter directly into a thin, shimmering gas, which is quickly swept away by the solar wind. It is a final, complete return to the energy of the star that dominates this world. Alternatively, perhaps we have chosen the embrace of the long night. As the sun sets, the cold deepens, becoming absolute. The little warmth held in our form radiates away into the perfect black of the sky. The final moment is a gentle crystallization, a cessation of all internal motion as we reach the temperature of the surrounding darkness. It is a peaceful freezing, becoming a part of the silent, crystalline stillness of the Mercurian night. In either case, the end is not a struggle. It is a surrender to the fundamental nature of this world. It is to become a part of its eternal cycle of fire and ice, to merge with the profound and absolute stillness that has defined this silent, watchful planet for billions upon billions of years. You become a silent monument, either a whisper of gas in the solar wind or a frozen statue under a brilliant canopy of unblinking stars. We leave the stark, silent clarity of Mercury and continue our journey outward from the sun. Our next destination is a world of similar size, but of a completely opposite character. It is a planet shrouded in mystery, a world hidden forever beneath a beautiful and impenetrable blanket of clouds. We are approaching Venus. From space, Venus is a serene and beautiful sight. It is a perfect, featureless sphere of pale, creamy yellow, lacking the vibrant blues of Earth or the cratered greys of Mercury. This beauty is its veil, a continuous, unbroken layer of clouds that perpetually hides its surface from view. For centuries, this veil invited speculation about a world of warmth and life beneath. The reality, as we now know, is far more extreme, but our descent will be a gentle one. We begin our entry into the upper atmosphere. The first layers are thin and hazy, but as we sink deeper, we enter the main cloud deck, a process that feels like descending into a deep, thick fog. These are not clouds of water vapor like on Earth. They are composed primarily of tiny droplets of sulfuric acid. Yet, we do not frame this as a danger, but simply as the chemistry of this world. The clouds are structured in distinct layers. We pass through a hazy upper layer, then a denser middle layer, and finally a misty lower layer. The sunlight from above is scattered and diffused, and the world around us becomes a soft, uniform, yellowish-white glow. There are no breaks in the clouds, no glimpse of a sun or stars. There is only this luminous, unending fog. As we sink deeper, we might witness lightning, not in the dramatic flashes we know, but as broad, silent sheet lightning that illuminates the cloud layers from within, a momentary, gentle brightening of our surroundings. The journey through these clouds is a long one, as they are incredibly thick, stretching for some 20 kilometers from top to bottom. It is a slow, patient, and quiet descent. The pressure begins to build around us, a gentle but insistent squeezing, and the temperature steadily rises. It is a transition from the cold of space to the immense heat of the lower atmosphere. Finally, after a long and silent fall, we emerge from the base of the clouds. We are now in the clear lower atmosphere, but the world is not bright. We are in a state of perpetual, dim, heavy twilight, forever living under the thick, oppressive blanket of the pale yellow sky we have just pierced. Having emerged beneath the cloud deck of Venus, the first and most overwhelming sensation is the immense and profound pressure of the atmosphere. The air here is no longer the light, gaseous substance we are accustomed to, but something thick, heavy, and almost tangible. The pressure on the surface of Venus is over 90 times greater than that of Earth at sea level. To understand this, imagine being 1 kilometer deep in the Earth's ocean. The weight of all that water above creates a similar, crushing pressure. But here, it is the sky itself that presses in from all directions with this incredible, uniform force. The atmosphere is so dense that the light from the hidden sun is bent and distorted. If we were to stand on the surface, the horizon would seem to bend upwards, creating the sense of being at the bottom of a shallow bowl with the pale, oppressive sky curving down around us. This thick air is composed almost entirely of carbon dioxide, a powerful greenhouse gas. This is the secret to Venus's extreme heat. Sunlight filters through the clouds and warms the surface, but the thick carbon dioxide blanket traps that heat, preventing it from escaping back into space. Over billions of years, this process, known as a runaway greenhouse effect, has turned Venus into the hottest planet in the solar system, with surface temperatures hot enough to melt lead. Yet there is a strange peacefulness to this environment. Because the atmosphere is so thick, and the temperature is so uniform across the planet, there is very little wind at the surface. The air moves with a slow, gentle drift, no more than a few kilometers per hour. So, despite the extreme conditions, the feeling is one of profound, heavy stillness. It is a calm, quiet, and deeply oppressive tranquility. The air is so thick it acts as a fluid, and moving through it would feel more like wading through water than walking through air. Sound would travel differently too, carrying with a strange, muffled quality through the dense medium. To be here is to be held, to be compressed, to be embraced by the sheer weight of an entire planet's sky. It is a state of being that is both crushingly heavy and paradoxically, perfectly still. We are now standing on the surface of Venus, at the bottom of its deep and heavy ocean of air. The world around us is bathed in a dim, eerie, and strangely beautiful light. The thick clouds and dense atmosphere scatter the blue and green wavelengths of sunlight, allowing only the reds and oranges to filter down to the surface. As a result, the entire landscape is cast in a perpetual sepia-toned twilight. It is as if we are seeing the world through a sheet of amber. The ground beneath our feet is a landscape of volcanic rock. Vast, flat plains stretch out in every direction, punctuated by the gentle slopes of ancient, inactive volcanoes. There are no sharp features here. The immense pressure and corrosive chemistry of the atmosphere have worked on the rocks for eons, softening their edges, giving them a slumped, rounded appearance. The rocks themselves are dark, likely basalt, but they glow with a faint, dull, reddish light, heated from within by the planet's extreme surface temperature. Looking toward the horizon, the view is hazy and indistinct. The thick atmosphere makes distant objects shimmer and blur, and the landscape fades into a uniform orange-brown haze. It is a world without vistas, a place where the view is always intimate and enclosed. We might see evidence of Venus's unique volcanic features, such as pancake domes, which are flat, circular volcanoes formed by thick, sluggish lava or coronae. Large, crown-like structures that are the result of rising plumes of magma from the planet's mantle. But everything is softened, muted, and colored by the dim orange light. The silence here is profound, a heavy, muffled quiet, broken only by the faintest whisper of the slow-moving air. It is a geologically active world, with a surface that is likely only a few 100 million years old, constantly being repaved by volcanic flows. But the pace of change is so slow, so patient, that for any single moment, the world feels eternal and unchanging. To be here is to exist in a single timeless photograph, a snapshot of a world forever trapped in the warm, dim, peaceful glow of a permanent sepia-tone dusk. In the heavy, sepia-tone twilight of Venus, the very concept of time seems to lose its meaning. This is due to the planet's extraordinarily slow and unusual rotation. Venus spins on its axis more slowly than any other planet in our solar system. In fact, it rotates backward, or in a retrograde direction, compared to most other planets. A single day on Venus, the time it takes for the planet to complete one full rotation, lasts for 243 Earth days. This is longer than its year. The time it takes to complete one orbit around the Sun, which is only about 225 Earth days. Imagine a world where the day is longer than the year. The Sun, hidden behind the impenetrable clouds, rises in the west and sets in the east. But this is not a daily event. The journey of the Sun from one horizon to the next is a slow, patient, and almost imperceptible crawl that takes many, many Earth months to complete. Time here is not measured in hours or minutes, but in geological epochs. The perpetual twilight barely changes in brightness as the Sun moves across the sky. The extreme heat is a constant as the thick atmosphere distributes it evenly across the planet, erasing any meaningful difference between day and night. On Venus, there is no dawn, no noon, no dusk, no night. There is only the eternal, unchanging, heavy warmth and the dim orange glow. This profound slowness creates a sense of deep and unending peace. There is no rush, no cycle of light and dark to mark the passage of time. The world is in a state of near-permanent stasis. The slow winds drift lazily across the volcanic plains. The dim light remains constant, and the immense pressure is an unwavering embrace. To be on Venus is to step outside the familiar rhythms of existence and enter a state of timelessness. It is to experience a world where a single moment seems to stretch into an eternity, a place where change is measured not in the movement of a clock's hands, but in the slow, patient cooling of lava over thousands of years. Here, in the timeless, tranquil inferno of Venus, the final moment is not a dramatic event, but a gentle and quiet surrender to the planet's defining characteristic, its immense, heavy atmosphere. The end comes not from the heat, which has become a constant ambient warmth, nor from the corrosive air, but from the simple, overwhelming weight of the sky. It is a process of gentle compression and dissolution. The 90 atmospheres of pressure are a constant, uniform embrace, and we simply allow that embrace to become a merging. There is no struggle, no resistance. It is a slow, peaceful yielding of form. Imagine the feeling of a sugar cube dissolving in warm water. It holds its shape for a moment, and then slowly, its edges soften, its structure gives way, and its substance is gently and completely dispersed into the surrounding liquid. This is the end on Venus. Our physical form is slowly and peacefully returned to the atmosphere. Our atoms are dissociated not violently but gently by the combination of pressure and heat, and they become a part of the thick, soupy air. We are woven into the carbon dioxide that makes up the sky, becoming an indistinguishable part of the planet's heavy thermal blanket. It is a quiet and final act of becoming one with the environment. There is no final sight, for the world is a uniform orange haze. There is no final sound, for the world is a muffled, heavy silence. There is only the final sensation of pressure giving way to a complete and peaceful oneness, a final release into the warm, heavy, and eternal calm of the Venusian air. We become a part of the veil itself, a silent, unseen component of the beautiful, terrible, and utterly peaceful world below the clouds. Now, as a part of the dense Venusian atmosphere, our perspective changes one last time. We are no longer a visitor on the surface, but an integrated part of the planet itself, a collection of atoms drifting in the slow, lazy currents of the lower air. From this new state of being, we can look upward, back toward the sky we descended through. The view is not of a sky, but of a ceiling. The base of the cloud deck hangs about 50 kilometers above, a thick, uniform and luminous barrier. It is a perpetual, pale yellow overcast, the source of the dim, sepia light that bathes the world below. There are no features, no breaks, just an endless, unchanging ceiling that stretches from horizon to horizon. This impenetrable layer is what makes Venus a hidden world. It is a one-way mirror. We can feel the immense energy of the sun being trapped below this blanket, but we cannot see the sun itself. We cannot see the stars, or our own home planet, Earth, which often shines so brightly in our own night sky as the evening star. All of that is on the other side of the veil. To be here is to be forever cut off from the rest of the cosmos, to exist in a closed and self-contained world. There is a strange and profound peace in this isolation. The universe of Venus is not the vast, star-filled void, but the intimate, enclosed space between the ground and the clouds. As we drift in the slow atmospheric currents, we are a part of this enclosed system, a part of the planet's hidden secret. Our journey here is complete. We have pierced the veil, experienced the heavy tranquility of the surface, and finally become a part of the atmosphere itself. Before we depart on our next journey, we take one final moment to appreciate this strange, isolated peace. We are a silent, invisible whisper in the air of a world that will forever keep its secrets, hidden beneath a beautiful and eternal blanket of pale yellow clouds. We leave the alien and isolated world of Venus and turn our journey homeward. Across the expanse of space, we see a familiar and comforting sight, a world of vibrant color and dynamic life. It is a world unique in this solar system, a place of perfect balance. We are returning to Earth. As we approach from the darkness of space, Earth resolves into the most beautiful sight in the solar system. It is a living, breathing jewel, a swirl of brilliant white clouds over deep, sapphire blue oceans, dotted with the familiar green and brown shapes of the continents. This view, the blue marble, is one of profound and gentle power. It is a sight that speaks of water, of air, of life, of a delicate and perfect system in constant, harmonious motion. Unlike the static, cratered face of Mercury or the uniform veil of Venus, Earth is a world of dynamic change. We can see the slow, silent pirouette of weather systems, great cyclones spinning gracefully over the oceans. We can see the sharp line of the Terminator, the boundary between day and night, sweeping across the continents, bringing with it the soft glow of city lights on the darkened half of the world. From this vantage point, there are no borders, no divisions, only the integrated wholeness of a single living planet. We can see the polar ice caps, brilliant white sheets that anchor the world's climate system. We can trace the great, green swathes of the rainforests around the equator, the lungs of the planet. We can see the tan and orange expanses of the deserts, places of stark and quiet beauty. Each feature is a part of a complex and interconnected story. The blue of the ocean speaks of the origin of life. The white of the clouds speaks of the water cycle, the planet's circulatory system. The green of the land speaks of photosynthesis, the conversion of sunlight into life. And the thin, almost invisible layer of the atmosphere, a delicate blue haze around the limb of the planet, speaks of the precious, gaseous blanket that makes it all possible. To arrive back at Earth is to come home. It is a return to a world of complexity, of change, and of a beauty that is not static, but alive. A final journey here is not a journey to an alien world, but a deeper exploration of the world that gave us form, a final, peaceful immersion into the very systems that define what it means to be alive. We descend from the quiet vacuum of space and enter Earth's atmosphere. The first sensation is the gentle rush of air, a sound and feeling absent from all our previous destinations. We are entering the thin, precious envelope of gas that has nurtured and protected life for billions of years. As we float down through the thermosphere, the mesosphere, the stratosphere, we finally arrive in the troposphere, the lowest layer, the air that we breathe. Let us imagine a final moment focused on a single, simple, profound act. the taking of one last breath. We draw in the air, and we feel it fill our lungs. But what is it we are breathing? It is not just a substance, it is a story. Roughly 78% of this air is nitrogen, a stable and gentle gas. Much of this nitrogen was outgassed from volcanoes early in Earth's history, and it has been cycling through the air, the soil, and living organisms ever since. The very nitrogen we breathe may have once been part of an ancient fern or a towering dinosaur. About 21% of the air is oxygen, the element that powers our cells. This oxygen is not a geological artifact. It is the product of life itself. It is the exhaled breath of countless trees, phytoplankton and algae, a gift from the planet's green and blue kingdoms, built up over billions of years. With every breath, we are taking in the life-giving work of the entire biosphere. The remaining 1% is a collection of other gases, including a tiny fraction of carbon dioxide. This is the gas that plants breathe, the gas that holds a delicate balance of warmth for our planet. In this final breath, we can feel the deep and intricate connection to every living thing. We are breathing the same air that has been breathed by every human who has ever lived, every animal that has ever walked the earth. It is a shared substance, a common atmospheric ocean in which we all swim. A final moment here is the peaceful release of that breath, a gentle exhalation. It is the act of giving back our borrowed atoms to the world, a quiet, grateful surrender to the air, becoming a part of the invisible, life-giving river that flows around and through us all. For this final moment on Earth, we choose a return to the very cradle of life, the place where the first, simple cells sparked into existence billions of years ago. We choose a peaceful release into the vast, ancient and rhythmic expanse of the ocean. Imagine floating on the surface of a calm, deep blue sea. The sun is warm, and the gentle swells lift and lower us in a slow, hypnotic rhythm. The world is reduced to two simple, perfect elements, the warm light above and the cool, deep water below. We take a final look at the sky, at the clouds drifting by, and then we let go, allowing ourselves to sink gently beneath the surface. The transition is a soft and quiet one. The sounds of the surface world fade away, replaced by the deep, muffled silence of the water. The light changes. The direct, bright sunlight becomes a shimmering, diffused, blue-green glow. We are descending through the sunlit zone, where schools of fish move like coordinated clouds of silver, and tiny plankton drift in the currents, the foundation of the entire marine food web. As we sink deeper, the light begins to fade. The blues become deeper, turning to indigo, and then to a soft, perpetual twilight. We are passing through the twilight zone, a world of strange and beautiful creatures adapted to the low light, many of whom create their own light through bioluminescence, tiny, cold sparks that drift by like underwater stars. The pressure around us gently increases, a firm but comforting embrace, and the water grows colder. We continue our slow, peaceful descent, leaving the world of light and warmth far behind. We enter the midnight zone, a realm of absolute and unending darkness. Here, there is no light from the sun. The only light is the occasional, ghostly glow of a deep-sea creature. The water is still and cold, and the silence is absolute. This is the deep, quiet heart of the planet. Our final moments are a gentle and slow dissolution into this ancient, life-giving water. Our body, which is itself mostly water, returns to its source. The salts and minerals within us are released, becoming a part of the ocean's timeless chemistry. It is not an end, but a transformation, a complete and peaceful merging with the origin of all life on Earth. We become a part of the currents that flow across the globe, a whisper of nutrients in the deep, a final, silent return to the Mother Ocean. As an alternative to the ocean, we can choose a different kind of return, a merging with the living land. We find ourselves in a quiet, ancient forest, a place of deep peace and patient growth. The air is cool and smells of damp earth, of moss, and of the slow, gentle decay of fallen leaves. The only sounds are the soft whisper of wind in the high canopy and the distant call of a bird. Sunlight filters down through the leaves in shifting, dappled patterns, creating a sense of being in a vast, green, living cathedral. We find a quiet spot at the base of a towering ancient tree, its bark like a wrinkled, wise face. We lie down on the soft, springy bed of moss and fallen leaves, and we simply let go. Our final moments here are a quiet surrender to the cycles of the forest. It is a process not of dissolution but of gentle and slow incorporation. As we rest, the forest begins its patient work. The tiny, unseen organisms of the soil, the bacteria and fungi, begin the process of decomposition. This is not a destructive act, but a creative one. It is the process of breaking down complexity into simple, essential nutrients. It is the forest recycling itself, ensuring that nothing is wasted. Our body is slowly, peacefully, and respectfully reclaimed by the earth. The carbon in our bones becomes a part of the soil. The nitrogen in our cells is taken up by the intricate network of fungal mycelium that connects the roots of all the trees. The water within us is drawn up by the roots of the ancient tree we are resting against, traveling up its trunk to a leaf high in the canopy, where it is transpired back into the air to become a part of a cloud. We are becoming a part of the forest floor, a layer of rich, dark humus that will provide nourishment for new life. We are woven into the fabric of this complex, interconnected ecosystem. Our final act is one of giving, of contributing our substance to the life of the forest, ensuring that the cycle of growth, decay, and rebirth continues. It is a peaceful end, becoming a silent, unseen part of the quiet, breathing life of the ancient woods. There is another way to take our leave of the earth, a final moment not of immersion but of perspective. We find ourselves on the summit of the highest mountain on the planet, a place that scrapes the edge of the sky. The journey up has been a long and quiet meditation, and now we stand on the roof of the world. The air here is thin, crisp, and intensely cold. Each breath is a conscious effort, a reminder of how precious our planet's atmosphere truly is. The sky above is no longer the familiar soft blue of the lowlands. It is a deep, dark, violet blue, the color of the transition to space. The sun is a brilliant, sharp disk in this thin air, and its light on the snow and rock is almost blindingly pure. Below us, the world spreads out in a breathtaking panorama. We can see the curvature of the earth. Lesser peaks, which would seem like giants from below, are now just a jagged, rocky sea at our feet. Vast glaciers flow in slow, frozen rivers down the valleys. Far in the distance, the brown and green plains of the continents stretch out until they dissolve into the haze of the horizon. From this vantage point, the world seems both immense and fragile. We are above the weather, looking down on the tops of clouds that drift peacefully in the valleys below. We are so high that we feel detached, a quiet observer looking down on the beautiful, complex systems of the planet. There is a profound silence here, broken only by the sound of the wind, a high, thin whisper as it flows around the summit. It is the sound of the planet's upper atmosphere, the breath of the jet stream. A final moment here is one of quiet release in this thin, pure air. It is a peaceful fading of consciousness while gazing out at the grandeur of the world. It is to let go at the highest point of our planet, a final, serene act of observation, becoming a part of the thin, cold wind that will forever whisper over the silent, snow-covered peaks, a silent guardian of the world below. Whether we chose the air, the ocean, the forest, or the mountain peak, the final truth of an end on Earth is that nothing is ever truly lost. It is simply transformed. This concluding thought on our homeworld is a gentle reassurance of our perpetual place within its living systems. The atoms that made up our form, the carbon, nitrogen, oxygen, and all the trace elements, do not vanish. They are simply returned to the great planetary reservoir from which they were borrowed. Our legacy is not in what we built or what we said, but in the simple, physical fact of our being. The atoms that were once us are now unbound, free to continue their journey through the Earth's biosphere. A carbon atom from a final breath might be taken in by a leaf and, through the magic of photosynthesis, be turned into a particle of sugar, giving the plant energy to grow. A calcium atom from a bone, dissolved in the ocean, might be taken up by a tiny coral polyp to become part of a vast and beautiful reef. A nitrogen atom, released into the soil of a forest, might become a part of a protein in a wildflower that blooms the following spring. We are rewoven into the fabric of the world. We are not gone. We are simply everywhere. We are in the rain that falls, the wind that blows, the soil that gives life, the ocean that cradles it. An end on Earth is the ultimate act of homecoming, a final, complete integration with the living world that created us. It is the comforting and peaceful knowledge that we never truly leave, but are instead given back, becoming a silent, integral, and eternal part of the continuing story of life on this beautiful blue marble. And with this thought, we prepare to journey outward once more, to Earth's silent, watchful companion. Our journey now takes us a short distance from our home, to the Earth's constant and silent companion. It is a world that has governed our tides, inspired our stories, and served as the only other celestial body upon which humanity has ever set foot. We are going to the moon. The journey from Earth to the moon takes only a few days, a small step into the cosmos. As we approach, the moon grows from a familiar silver disk into a vast three-dimensional world of grey, white, and black. Our destination is the Sea of Tranquility, not a sea of water, but a vast, dark, flat plain of ancient volcanic basalt. This is the historic site where humans first landed, a place of profound significance and even more profound silence. Our landing is a gentle, soft touchdown. The engines cut off, and a silence descends that is deeper and more absolute than anything that can be experienced on Earth. There is no air to carry sound, no wind, no rustling leaves, no distant hum of life. The silence is a physical presence, a thick, velvet blanket that covers everything. We step out onto the surface, and the ground beneath our feet is a fine, powdery dust, the lunar regolith. It is softer than sand, and has a unique texture, the result of billions of years of micrometeorite impacts pulverizing the rock. Each footstep leaves a perfect, sharp-edged print that will remain undisturbed for millions of years, a silent testament to our brief presence. The landscape is stark, beautiful, and utterly alien. The horizon is much closer than on Earth due to the moon's smaller size, giving the impression of being on a small, personal sphere. The colors are a subtle and beautiful range of grays, from the pale, almost white of the highlands to the dark charcoal of the basaltic plain we are on. The sunlight is unfiltered by any atmosphere, creating a world of brilliant light and impossibly dark shadows. Every rock, every crater rim, casts a shadow that is a pool of perfect, inky blackness. To be here is to be in a place of perfect preservation, a museum of the solar system's history, where time is measured not in days or years, but in eons. It is a place of absolute stillness and peace. We stand on the grey, dusty plain of the Sea of Tranquility and turn our gaze upward. Hanging in the velvet black of the lunar sky is the most spectacular sight in the heavens, the planet Earth. From the moon, the Earth is 4 times wider and 16 times larger in area than the moon appears to us. It is a brilliant, shining jewel, a living marble of swirling white clouds, deep blue oceans, and continents of green and tan. It is a beacon of color and life in the silent, monochrome landscape. Because the moon is tidally locked to Earth, meaning it always presents the same face to our planet, the Earth does not rise or set. It hangs, motionless and silent, in the same spot in the sky, eternally. Its only movement is a slow, majestic and silent rotation on its axis. We can watch as continents glide into view and then disappear, as weather patterns form and dissipate, as the line of night slowly sweeps across its face. It is like watching a silent cosmic ballet. The Earth also goes through phases, just as the moon does for us. We can see a full Earth, when the entire sunlit side is facing us, a light so brilliant it illuminates the lunar landscape in a soft, ethereal bluish-white glow. This is Earthlight. We can also see a new Earth, when the planet is a dark disk, its night side facing us, outlined only by the faint halo of its atmosphere, and we can see all the crescent and gibbous phases in between. To witness this is a profound and deeply moving experience. It is to see our entire world, all of history, all of life, all of our worries and joys, contained in a single, beautiful, silent sphere. It is a perspective that instills a sense of both connection and peaceful detachment. A final moment on the moon could be spent simply gazing at this sight, watching our homeworld turn in the silent, black sky. It is a final meditation on the beauty and fragility of life, a quiet release of self while bathed in the gentle, silver-blue light of home. On the moon, where time seems to stand still, there is a slow and majestic rhythm that defines the landscape, the long lunar day and the long lunar night. A full day-night cycle on the moon lasts for about 29.5 Earth days. This means that for nearly 2 weeks, a given spot on the surface is bathed in continuous, direct sunlight, and for the following 2 weeks, it is plunged into the deep, cold darkness of night. We now imagine ourselves standing at the boundary between this light and shadow, a line known as the terminator. The lunar sunrise is not the quick, colorful event it is on Earth. Here, with no atmosphere to scatter light, the sun's brilliant corona peaks over the horizon, and then the star itself rises as a blindingly white disk into a perfectly black sky. The terminator line begins to sweep across the landscape. It is not a soft, fuzzy line like our twilight, but a sharp, distinct boundary. As this line of light creeps silently toward us, the landscape is transformed. The long, black shadows cast by crater rims and rocks slowly shorten. The tops of mountains catch the first rays of light while the valleys below remain in deep darkness. The effect is one of high contrast and stark, geometric beauty. The silence is absolute as this slow-motion sunrise unfolds. There is no dawn chorus, no warming of the air. There is only the silent, inexorable advance of the light. The temperature of the rock at our feet begins to rise dramatically, from the deep cold of night to a scorching heat in the direct sun. We can watch as the terminator line moves across the vast grey plains, revealing the details of the surface with its low-angled light, making every small crater and ripple in the dust stand out in sharp relief. To experience a final moment here is to be overtaken by this silent, creeping line of light or shadow. It is to watch the slow, majestic, and utterly predictable cycle of the cosmos unfold in its purest form, a peaceful surrender to the fundamental and unchangeable rhythm of the moon's long day and long night. Let us now turn our attention from the grand celestial sights to the very ground beneath our feet. The surface of the moon is covered in a fine, powdery layer of material known as the lunar regolith. This is not soil as we know it on Earth, which is rich with organic matter and moisture. Lunar regolith is a dry, almost ethereal dust, the product of billions of years of cosmic bombardment. Every inch of the moon's surface has been patiently and relentlessly pulverized by a constant rain of micrometeorites. These tiny, sand-grain-sized particles, traveling at incredible speeds, strike the surface and create microscopic craters, blasting the rock into a fine, glassy dust. This process, over the immense span of geological time, has created a blanket of this dust that covers the entire moon, ranging in depth from a few meters on the younger Maria to over 10 meters in the ancient highlands. The texture of this dust is unique. The individual particles are sharp and angular, not worn down and rounded like sand on an earthly beach, because there is no wind or water to smooth them. It is for this reason that astronauts' footprints are so sharp and well preserved. It is a material that holds its shape. To gently touch this dust is to touch the deep history of the solar system. Within this fine powder are tiny fragments of the original lunar crust, glassy beads formed from the heat of impacts, and particles from the solar wind that have become embedded in the grains over billions of years. It is a collective memory, a silent archive of the sun's activity and the history of cosmic impacts. A final moment could be a quiet contemplation of this substance, a peaceful lying down upon this soft grey blanket, allowing our form to be slowly covered by this dust of ages, becoming a part of the moon's silent, undisturbed and timeless historical record. Our time on the moon, humanity's silent and watchful neighbor, now draws to a peaceful close. We have witnessed the stark beauty of its cratered plains, the absolute quiet of its airless environment, and the majestic sight of our own world hanging in its sky. For a final moment, we choose the gentle embrace of the long lunar night. but a night illuminated by a special glow. We are on the Earth-facing side of the moon, and the sun has set below the horizon. The landscape is plunged into a deep and profound darkness, and the temperature of the ground begins its long fall to a deep, crystalline cold. But we are not in complete darkness. High in the sky, motionless and magnificent, is a nearly full Earth. It shines with a brilliant reflected light, a soft bluish-white radiance that is many times brighter than the full moon is in our own sky. This is Earthlight, and it bathes the silent grey landscape in a gentle, ethereal glow. The shadows cast by this light are soft and diffuse, unlike the sharp, black shadows of the lunar day. The world is transformed from a place of harsh contrasts into a soft, dreamlike landscape. The familiar craters and mountains are still there, but their features are softened, rendered in shades of silver and deep grey. The silence is, as always, absolute. To rest here, bathed in the light of our home world, is a deeply peaceful experience. It is to feel a connection to the distant, living world, while being completely immersed in the profound stillness of the moon. The final moment is a quiet fading, a slow release of warmth and consciousness into the deep cold of the lunar night, all while being watched over by the beautiful, silent, rotating marble of home. It is to become a permanent feature of this tranquil, earthlit landscape, a silent watcher, forever gazing at the distant, shining beacon of life in the quiet, velvet dark. We leave the grey, silent world of the moon and journey outward once more, crossing the void to the fourth planet from the sun. This is a world that has captivated human imagination for centuries, a planet of rusty red deserts, towering volcanoes, and tantalizing hints of a watery past. We are arriving on Mars. Our arrival on Mars is a gentle descent through a thin and cold atmosphere. Unlike the thick, oppressive blanket of Venus, the Martian air is a delicate and almost insubstantial veil. The pressure here is less than 1% of Earth's, a near vacuum that is still substantial enough to support weather, winds, and a sky. As we descend, we look up, and the sky is not the deep blue of home or the black of the moon, but a soft, pale, and gentle pinkish orange. This beautiful and unique color is caused by the fine, reddish dust that is suspended almost perpetually in the atmosphere. The particles of iron oxide, essentially rust, scatter the red wavelengths of sunlight, giving the sky its characteristic butterscotch or salmon hue. It is a warm, gentle color that bathes the entire landscape in a soft, diffuse light. The sun, as seen from Mars, is smaller and less brilliant than from Earth, a more distant and gentle star. The thin atmosphere means the light is not as bright, and the world has a muted, serene quality to it. As we touch down on the surface, we find ourselves in a vast, cold desert. The ground is a landscape of red rocks and fine, sandy dust, stretching out to a distant horizon. It is a world of profound and immense emptiness, a quiet that is almost as deep as the moon's, but not quite. Here there is a whisper of an atmosphere, a hint of sound. The landscape is ancient, shaped by forces both familiar and alien. We see vast, dry riverbeds, evidence of a time long ago when liquid water may have flowed on the surface. We see fields of dark sand dunes, shaped by the thin but persistent Martian winds. It is a world that feels both deeply alien and strangely familiar, a silent desert planet under a soft pink sky. We wait as the distant small sun begins its slow descent toward the western horizon. The Martian day is very similar in length to our own, just a little over 24.5 hours. So the rhythm of day and night feels familiar and comforting. As the sun gets lower, a beautiful and unique phenomenon begins to unfold. A Martian sunset is not the fiery red and orange spectacle we are used to on Earth. It is a slow, serene, and hauntingly beautiful display of blue. As the sun dips below the horizon, the dust in the atmosphere, which scatters red light during the day to create the pink sky, now scatters the blue light forward, toward the observer. This creates a soft, luminous blue glow that surrounds the setting sun and lingers in the twilight sky long after the sun itself has vanished. The effect is profoundly peaceful. The red desert landscape, which was bathed in a warm pinkish light all day, is now gently illuminated by this cool, ethereal blue light. It is a moment of quiet magic, a final, gentle flourish of color before the cold Martian night descends. The silence of the vast desert deepens as the blue light fades, and the stars begin to appear in the darkening sky. The two tiny asteroid-like moons of Mars, Phobos and Deimos, might be seen racing across the sky as small star-like points of light. A final moment on Mars could be spent simply witnessing this beautiful and unique spectacle. It is to watch the world transform from warm red to cool blue, a peaceful and silent light show on a distant world. It is a gentle release of consciousness as the last of the blue glow fades from the horizon, a quiet surrender to the cold, clear, star-filled night of the red planet. The quiet on Mars is different from the absolute, deafening silence of the Moon. Here, there is an atmosphere, thin and tenuous as it is, and where there is atmosphere, there is the possibility of sound. For most of the time, the planet is wrapped in a profound stillness, a deep and resonant quiet that blankets the vast, empty deserts. The low atmospheric pressure means that sound does not travel well. Any sound that is made would be muted, muffled and strangely thin, like a distant echo. But Mars is not always silent. It has a voice, and that voice is the sound of the wind. Because the atmosphere is so thin, the winds need to be very fast to have any effect, but they can and do blow with incredible speeds, sometimes creating planet-encircling dust storms. But we will imagine a more gentle time. We are sitting in a vast, open plain, and a breeze begins to stir. At first, it is just a whisper, a faint, high-pitched sigh that is barely audible. It is the sound of the thin carbon dioxide air moving over the fine red sand. It is a lonely, desolate sound, the only voice in an empty world. As the wind picks up, the sound might grow into a soft, mournful hiss. It carries with it the finest particles of red dust, creating a low, drifting haze across the landscape. This is the sound of the planet breathing, a slow, cold, and ancient exhalation. NASA's rovers, equipped with microphones, have captured these sounds for the first time in human history. They recorded the gentle whisper of the wind, the soft crackle of the rover's wheels on the gravel, and the low hum of the craft's own machinery. These are the first and only sounds ever heard from another planet. To sit and listen to the Martian wind is a meditative and deeply peaceful experience. It is to connect with the dynamic, living nature of this seemingly dead world. A final moment here is not one of silence, but of listening. It is to let your consciousness dissolve into this one single lonely sound, to be carried away with the whispering red dust on the thin Martian air, becoming a part of the planet's faint and ancient voice. Our journey on Mars now takes us to two of its most immense and awe-inspiring geological features, places of a scale that dwarfs anything on Earth. First, we travel to the Tharsis region, a vast volcanic plateau to stand at the base of Olympus Mons. This is the largest volcano in the entire solar system. It is a shield volcano, built up by countless flows of fluid lava over billions of years. It is so broad and its slopes are so gentle that if you were standing on its flanks, you would not even be aware you were on a mountain. The horizon would just seem to be gently sloping upwards. It rises to a height of over 21 kilometers, nearly 3 times the height of Mount Everest. Its peak extends so high that it pokes out of the top of the Martian atmosphere. From its summit, the sky would be almost black, and you could look down upon the planet's dust storms. Next, we journey to Valles Marineris, the grandest canyon in the solar system. This is not a canyon carved by a river, like the Grand Canyon on Earth, but a vast tectonic crack in the Martian crust, which was later widened by erosion. It stretches for over 4,000 kilometers, the length of the entire United States, and in places it is over 7 kilometers deep. To stand on its rim is to look out over an impossible, breathtaking void. The scale is so immense it is difficult for the human mind to comprehend. The far rim is so distant you could not see it, and the canyon floor is a hazy, reddish blur far below. There is a profound sense of emptiness and deep time here. These features are silent testaments to a more geologically active Martian past. A final moment could be spent in quiet contemplation at one of these immense sites, either on the high, lonely peak of Olympus Mons, gazing out at the curvature of the planet, or on the edge of the Valles Marineris, feeling a sense of peaceful insignificance in the face of such geological grandeur. It is to become one with the immense and silent history of this ancient, monumental world. Our time on the red planet is now coming to an end. We have felt its thin, pink sky, watched its blue sunset, listened to its lonely wind, and stood in awe of its grand, ancient geology. The final moments here are a quiet and gentle merging with the very substance that defines this world. Its fine, red dust. We find a quiet place, perhaps in the shelter of a large, wind-scoured rock in a vast desert plain. We lie down, and we wait. The Martian wind, the planet's only voice, begins to blow. It is not a violent storm, but a steady, persistent breeze, a constant river of thin air. It carries with it the finest particles of the red planet's soil. Slowly, gently, a fine layer of this dust begins to settle upon us. It is a soft, reddish-brown powder, the color of rust and time. The process is incredibly slow, a patient and gentle burial. The dust fills in the spaces, softens the outlines, and gradually, over the course of hours and days, begins to cover us in a thin, red blanket. There is no sense of being buried alive, no feeling of suffocation. The air is already too thin to breathe. It is simply a quiet, passive acceptance of the planet's natural processes. It is a return to the Earth, a red Earth, rich in iron oxide. It is to become a part of the geology of Mars, a tiny, insignificant bump in the landscape that will, over time, be smoothed over and forgotten, a silent and anonymous part of the vast, cold and beautiful desert. The end on Mars is to be tucked in by the wind, to be reclaimed by the red dust, and to rest forever under a soft pink sky. We now leave the small, rocky, terrestrial worlds behind. Our journey takes us across the asteroid belt, a vast region of space filled with rocky debris, and into the realm of the giants. Our next destination is the fifth planet from the Sun, a world so large it could contain all the other planets within it. We are arriving at Jupiter. Jupiter is a world of a completely different order. It is a gas giant, a planet with no solid surface to land on. It is a vast, deep and turbulent ocean of hydrogen and helium. To arrive at Jupiter is not to land, but to descend, to sink into its immense and colorful atmosphere. From a distance, Jupiter is a majestic sight, a vast, striped ball of swirling colors, creamy whites, reddish browns and pale yellows. These are the tops of its clouds, stretched into long bands by the planet's incredibly rapid rotation. Jupiter spins faster than any other planet, completing a full rotation in just under 10 hours. This rapid spin creates powerful jet streams that separate the clouds into distinct, light-colored zones and darker belts. Our descent begins at the very top of the atmosphere. There is no clear boundary, just a slow and gentle increase in the density of the gas around us. We are entering an endless sky, a world with no ground, no horizon, only the swirling, ever-changing clouds. The first layers are thin and cold, but as we sink deeper, the pressure and temperature begin to rise steadily. We are on a one-way journey into the heart of the giant. The pull of Jupiter's immense gravity is powerful, but our descent is not a frantic, uncontrolled fall. We imagine it as a slow, peaceful and buoyant drift, like a single mote of dust sinking through a deep and tranquil sea. The scale is almost impossible to comprehend. The cloud bands that looked like thin stripes from a distance are revealed to be continent-sized weather systems, vast rivers of clouds flowing parallel to the equator. We are entering a world of pure meteorology, a planet made of sky. The journey into Jupiter is a surrender to the inevitable, a quiet letting go into the depths of the greatest ocean in our solar system. As we continue our gentle descent into Jupiter's atmosphere, we enter the highest, most visible cloud layer. This is the world that we see from a distance, a vast and complex landscape made not of rock or ice, but of frozen ammonia crystals. The temperature here is about -150 degrees Celsius. We are drifting through an endless, surreal skyscape of shimmering white clouds. These are the zones, the lighter-colored bands we see from space. They are regions where gas is rising from the warmer interior, cooling, and condensing into these bright ammonia ice clouds. The view is one of breathtaking, abstract beauty. We see vast, billowing clouds that stretch for thousands of kilometers, like immense terrestrial thunderheads, but made of a substance that would be a pungent gas on Earth. We see delicate, feathery, cirrus-like clouds, all made of the same ammonia ice, all being stretched and sheared by Jupiter's powerful winds. Interspersed with these bright white zones are the darker, reddish-brown belts. These are regions where the cooler gas is sinking back down into the planet's interior. Here, the view is clearer, allowing us to see deeper into the warmer layers below. The colors of these belts are thought to be caused by complex chemical compounds, perhaps containing sulfur or phosphorus, which are brought up from the depths and then colored by the sun's ultraviolet light. We are floating in a world that is like a vast, ever-changing abstract painting. The patterns and colors swirl around us in a slow, majestic, and silent dance. There is no up or down, no solid reference point, only the endless, beautiful, and cold ocean of clouds. To be here is to be adrift in a cosmic work of art, a final, peaceful immersion in a landscape of pure, dynamic, and colorful gas. As we drift through the ammonia cloudscapes of Jupiter, we approach the most iconic and awe-inspiring feature on the planet's face, the Great Red Spot. This is not just a storm. It is a colossal, anticyclonic tempest, a high-pressure system so vast that it is wider than the entire planet Earth. It has been continuously observed for over 300 years, a testament to the incredible stability and power of Jupiter's atmosphere. From a distance, it is a serene, oval-shaped blemish of reddish-orange. But as we draw near, we can see the incredible, swirling detail within it. The clouds at its edge are moving at incredible speeds, over 400 kilometers per hour, but the scale is so immense that the motion appears slow, graceful, and majestic. We do not enter the storm itself, but we drift along its edge, a safe and peaceful vantage point from which to witness its grandeur. We can see smaller storms being swept up by its circulation, rotating around its edge before being consumed by the larger system. We see the clouds within the spot itself, swirling in a complex, turbulent, and beautiful pattern. The colors range from a pale salmon pink to a deep brick red, the chemistry of which is still not fully understood. It is thought that material from deep within Jupiter's atmosphere is being dredged up to the cloud tops, where it is exposed to sunlight, creating these colored compounds. The Great Red Spot is like a vast, cosmic hurricane that has been raging for centuries, and may yet rage for centuries more. But from our perspective, it is not a violent or chaotic event. It is a place of profound and majestic order, a vast, slowly turning wheel in the Jovian atmosphere. It is a symbol of the immense, timeless, and peaceful power of this giant planet. A final moment here is one of awestruck observation, of watching this silent, eternal waltz of clouds, a final, quiet release of consciousness while witnessing a storm that is larger than our entire world. Our journey continues deeper into the heart of Jupiter, sinking below the shimmering, cold layer of ammonia clouds. As the pressure and temperature continue to rise, we reach a region that is, in a way, strangely familiar. Scientists theorize that about 50 kilometers below the ammonia clouds, there is another, denser cloud layer made of something we know very well: water. We are now drifting through vast, dense clouds of water ice and liquid water droplets, just like the clouds of Earth. But the scale is utterly different. These are not the fluffy, continent-sized clouds we are used to. These are planet-sized storm systems, with towering thunderheads that could swallow a terrestrial city whole. The darkness here is much deeper, as we are now far below the reach of direct sunlight. The only illumination comes from immense and powerful flashes of lightning. This lightning is not the quick, jagged bolts we see on Earth. It is vast sheet lightning that can illuminate an area of the sky the size of a country for a few brief, silent moments. In these flashes, we get a glimpse of a vast, turbulent, and watery world. We see clouds of grey and white, swirling in the powerful atmospheric currents. We can imagine the sound of thunder, not as a sharp crack, but as a deep, planet-shaking rumble that would be felt more than heard, echoing through the dense atmosphere. This region connects the alien chemistry of Jupiter's upper layers with the most fundamental substance for life as we know it. It is a comforting and awe-inspiring thought that even here, in the depths of a gas giant, there is a world of water clouds. A final moment here is a peaceful drift through this dark, stormy and watery realm, a quiet surrender in a place that is both profoundly alien and deeply elementally familiar. We continue our descent, leaving the water ice clouds far above us. The journey now enters its final and most mysterious phase. As we sink deeper and deeper into Jupiter's atmosphere, the pressure and temperature rise to levels that are difficult to comprehend. The gas around us, mostly hydrogen, becomes denser and denser until it is no longer truly a gas. We have entered a strange transitional state. The hydrogen has become a supercritical fluid, a state of matter that is not quite a liquid and not quite a gas, but shares properties of both. It is a thick, soupy, and incredibly dense fog that surrounds us. Visibility drops to zero. We are no longer in a world of clouds and colors, but in a uniform, crushing, and completely dark abyss. The pressure is now millions of times greater than on Earth's surface, and the temperature is thousands of degrees. In these extreme conditions, form itself can no longer hold. The final moment is a gentle and complete dissociation. The atoms of our being are peacefully and quietly pulled apart, their bonds dissolved by the immense energy of the planet's deep interior. It is a process that is not violent but inevitable, a final, quiet surrender to the overwhelming physics of this place. We are returned to our constituent elements, which merge seamlessly with the vast hydrogen ocean of the planet's interior. We have reached the end of our descent. We have become an indistinguishable part of the planet itself, a tiny, insignificant addition to the immense, crushing, and silent heart of the gas giant. There is no final sight, no final sound, only a final, peaceful sensation of becoming one with the immense, heavy, and quiet depths. Though our physical form has dissolved into the deep interior of Jupiter, we can imagine one final, disembodied echo of our consciousness expanding outward, merging not with the planet's matter, but with its immense and powerful magnetic field. Jupiter's magnetosphere is the largest and most powerful of any planet in the solar system, a vast, invisible bubble of magnetic force that extends millions of kilometers into space. So large that if it were visible from Earth, it would appear larger than the full moon. To become one with this field is to feel the grand, silent symphony of the Jovian system. We can feel the powerful currents of charged particles, trapped in the magnetic field, flowing around the planet. We can feel the immense radiation belts, regions of intense energy that would be instantly lethal to any physical being. But as a part of the field itself, we feel it only as a deep, resonant hum, the planet's magnetic heartbeat. Our awareness extends outward, along the magnetic field lines that connect Jupiter to its moons. We can feel the incredible connection to the volcanic moon Io, the most geologically active body in the solar system. Io is constantly spewing sulfur and other materials into space from its many volcanoes, and this material gets caught in Jupiter's magnetic field, creating a vast torus, or donut-shaped cloud, of plasma that encircles the planet. We can feel the energy from this torus being funneled down along the magnetic field lines into Jupiter's poles, creating the most powerful and beautiful auroras in the solar system. These are curtains of light, thousands of times more powerful than Earth's northern lights, that shimmer and dance in the polar skies, forever unseen by any eye. This final moment is a grand and peaceful one. To become a part of this vast, invisible and powerful structure, a silent, energetic echo forever connected to the planet, its moons, and its beautiful hidden light shows. We leave the immense, colorful and powerful world of Jupiter behind and continue our journey outward into the colder, dimmer regions of the solar system. Our next destination is perhaps the most beautiful and iconic of all the planets, a world defined not by its surface or its storms, but by the magnificent and delicate structure that encircles it. We are arriving at Saturn. Our approach to Saturn is a slow and reverent one. From a great distance, it appears as a pale golden yellow star. But as we draw closer, its most famous feature begins to resolve: the rings. At first, they are just a thin line of light bisecting the planet, but they soon blossom into a vast, shimmering, and impossibly thin disk of breathtaking beauty. Saturn itself is a majestic gas giant, similar to Jupiter but more subdued in its colors. It has the same banded structure of zones and belts, but they are paler, more subtle, a gentle palette of yellows, beiges, and soft whites. The planet has a serene, tranquil quality, lacking the turbulent, chaotic appearance of Jupiter. It seems to float in the blackness of space with a quiet and regal grace. But it is the rings that command our full attention. They stretch for hundreds of thousands of kilometers, yet in most places they are only a few tens of meters thick. They are a structure of impossible, delicate proportions. From this distance they look solid, like a single, cohesive object, a beautiful, translucent brim on a celestial hat. The sunlight from the distant sun catches them and makes them shine with a soft, silvery light. We can see the shadow of the planet falling across the rings, and the shadow of the rings falling upon the planet's cloud tops, creating a beautiful interplay of light and dark. The entire system is tilted relative to its orbit, giving us a magnificent open view of the ring plane. To witness Saturn from a distance is one of the great peaceful pleasures of a journey through the solar system. It is a sight that feels both perfectly natural and utterly miraculous, a piece of cosmic jewelry hanging in the silent velvet dark. Our journey here will not be a descent into the planet itself, but a peaceful exploration of this most beautiful and serene of all celestial structures. We now move from being a distant admirer to an intimate participant. Our trajectory takes us toward the edge of the ring system, and we prepare to drift into the ring plane itself. The rings that appeared solid from a distance are revealed to be something far more ethereal and wonderful. They are not a single object, but a vast, flat, and orderly river of countless individual particles, all orbiting Saturn in perfect, silent harmony. The vast majority of these particles are made of almost pure water ice. They range in size from tiny dust-like specks to small pebbles to larger chunks the size of a car and a few rare objects as large as a house. As we enter the outermost, most tenuous ring, we are surrounded by these orbiting ice crystals. They are not crowded together but are separated by many meters of empty space. They float past us in a slow, silent, and graceful dance. The distant sun, now a small but brilliant point of light, shines through the rings, and each ice particle catches the light and glitters like a perfectly cut diamond. We are floating in a vast, slow-motion blizzard of tiny, sparkling jewels. The silence is absolute. There is no wind, no sound of collision, as the particles all move in the same direction at nearly the same speed. It is a place of profound and ordered peace. We can see the planet Saturn through the veil of the rings, a huge, pale, golden globe hanging in the sky. We can see the tiny shepherd moons that orbit within and around the rings, their gravity helping to shape the ring's delicate structure and keep their edges sharp. We are adrift in a celestial river of ice and light, a place of unimaginable beauty and tranquility. It is not a place to be feared, but a place to be experienced, a final, peaceful immersion in a structure that is one of the great wonders of the cosmos. As we drift deeper into the main ring system of Saturn, we come to a feature that at first seems like a void, a wide, dark gap where there appear to be no ring particles at all. This is the Cassini division, the largest and most famous gap in the rings, a feature so prominent it can be seen from Earth with a good telescope. It is a 4,800-kilometer wide space that separates the outer A ring from the brighter inner B ring. As we float across this division, we find that it is not entirely empty. It contains some faint, dusty ring material, but it is far more sparse than the dense rings on either side. The feeling is one of passing through a silent, open lane in the midst of a great cosmic highway. The reason for this gap is a beautiful example of the quiet, patient power of gravity. The Cassini division is created and maintained by the gravitational influence of one of Saturn's moons, Mimas. Mimas orbits Saturn much farther out than the rings, but its gravity gently tugs on the ring particles. Any particle that orbits within the Cassini division will find itself in a special relationship with Mimas, known as an orbital resonance. It will orbit Saturn exactly twice for every one orbit of Mimas. This regular alignment means that Mimas gives the particle a small, repeated gravitational nudge in the same direction, over and over again. Over millions of years, these gentle, rhythmic nudges have cleared the particles out of this region, creating the gap we see today. Mimas is a silent, invisible shepherd, patiently herding the ring particles and maintaining this perfect, empty space. To cross the Cassini division is to witness the subtle, artistic hand of gravity at work, a quiet testament to the mathematical harmony that governs the dance of the planets, moons, and rings. While our main focus at Saturn is its beautiful rings, we now take a brief detour to observe one of the most mysterious and unique features in the entire solar system. We drift our perspective over the planet's north pole, and there, in the cloud tops, we see something that seems impossible. A storm in the shape of a perfect hexagon. This is a vast, six-sided jet stream, a weather pattern of stunning and inexplicable geometric precision. Each side of the hexagon is wider than the diameter of the Earth. The jet stream itself is a river of air moving at over 300 kilometers per hour, forming a stable, stationary, six-sided wall around the North Pole. At the center of the hexagon, a massive hurricane-like vortex rotates, its eye a deep, dark red. The origin of this bizarre and beautiful structure is still a subject of scientific study. It is thought to be a wave, standing stationary in the atmosphere, its shape dictated by the complex physics of fluids on a rotating sphere. But its perfect geometric form gives it an air of profound and quiet mystery. Unlike the chaotic, swirling storms of Jupiter, Saturn's hexagonal storm is a pattern of incredible order and stability. It has been observed by spacecraft for decades and shows no sign of changing its shape. To gaze down upon this feature is a meditative experience. It is to witness a piece of impossible natural geometry, a quiet and perfect form etched into the atmosphere of a giant planet. It is a reminder that the universe is not only a place of chaos and randomness, but also of deep, underlying and beautiful mathematical order. We observe its slow, majestic rotation for a time, a silent audience to one of the cosmos's most serene and puzzling creations, before we return our attention to the rings. Our journey through the magnificent rings of Saturn now comes to its peaceful conclusion. We have drifted through the glittering ice particles, crossed the silent gap of the Cassini division, and now we choose a final resting place. We find a small house-sized chunk of pure crystalline water ice, slowly tumbling in its orbit in the midst of the bright B ring. We gently come to rest upon its frigid surface. From here, the view is breathtaking. We are a part of the rings now, moving with them. The planet Saturn fills a huge portion of the sky, its pale golden clouds a majestic backdrop. The other ring particles drift by in a silent, endless, sparkling river. The final moment here is not a dissolution or a destruction, but a simple act of becoming a part of the dance. We choose this single ice crystal, and we stay with it. Our end is a slow, gentle freezing, a final surrender to the deep, absolute cold of this place. Our consciousness merges with the crystalline structure of the ice, becoming a silent, frozen passenger on its eternal journey around the ringed planet. There is no end to the orbit, no conclusion to the dance. It is a state of perpetual, silent, and beautiful motion. We become a tiny, indistinguishable spark of reflected sunlight in the most beautiful and serene structure in our solar system. We are a part of the jewel, a single frozen note in the silent music of Saturn's rings, forever adrift, forever at peace. In the cold and beautiful light of a distant sun, we leave the golden hues and glittering rings of Saturn and continue our journey into the deep, dark and cold outer solar system. Our next destination is a strange and quiet world, a planet that seems to be marching to the beat of its own, different drum. We are arriving at the seventh planet, the ice giant Uranus. The journey to Uranus is a long one, across billions of kilometers of empty, dark space. The sun, from this distance, has shrunk to a very bright star-like point. Its light is now hundreds of times fainter than it is at Earth, and its warmth is almost non-existent. We are entering a realm of profound and perpetual cold. As we approach, Uranus resolves into a serene and beautiful sphere of a pale, delicate aquamarine color. It is a quiet and gentle-looking world, lacking the dramatic bands of Jupiter or the magnificent rings of Saturn. It appears almost featureless, a calm, smooth, blue-green ball hanging in the blackness. But what makes Uranus truly unique and strange is not its color, but its orientation. Unlike all the other planets, which spin more or less upright as they orbit the Sun, Uranus is tilted on its side. Its axis of rotation is tilted by almost 98 degrees, meaning it essentially rolls along on its side as it orbits the Sun. It is a world that has been knocked over, likely by a massive collision with an Earth-sized protoplanet early in the solar system's history. This extreme axial tilt has profound consequences for the planet's seasons and its days, making it a world unlike any other. Our arrival is a slow, quiet approach to this sideways giant. We see its faint, dark ring system, not a broad, bright sheet like Saturn's, but a collection of thin, almost invisible dark hoops. We see its family of icy moons, all orbiting the planet's equator, and thus, because of the tilt, they appear to circle the planet in a path that is almost perpendicular to the plane of the solar system. The whole system is a quiet, tilted and graceful anomaly, a peaceful and strange corner of our cosmic neighborhood. As we draw closer to Uranus, we are struck by its serene and almost placid appearance. From a distance, its atmosphere seems to be a uniform, hazy, blue-green with no discernible features. This gives the planet a profoundly calm and tranquil quality, as if it is a world at perfect peace. The beautiful aquamarine color comes from the presence of methane gas in its hydrogen and helium atmosphere. The methane absorbs the red wavelengths of sunlight and reflects the blue and green, creating the planet's signature gentle hue. This placid exterior, however, hides a dynamic and extreme interior. Uranus is classified as an ice giant. This does not mean it is a frozen solid ball of ice. It means that beneath its gaseous outer atmosphere, the bulk of the planet is made of a hot, dense fluid mixture of water, methane, and ammonia ices. The pressure and temperature in this interior are so immense that these materials exist in a strange, fluid state. The serene, featureless appearance of the outer atmosphere is due to a thick haze of methane ice crystals that veils the deeper cloud layers. When the Voyager 2 spacecraft flew by in 1986, it saw an almost perfectly blank sphere. More recent observations with powerful telescopes have been able to peer through this haze and have detected faint cloud bands and even large storms, similar to those on the other gas giants. But these features are hidden, subtle, and subdued. The overall impression of Uranus is one of quiet, cold, and misty stillness. It is a world that keeps its secrets hidden beneath a calm, blue-green veil, a silent, sleeping giant in the deep, cold dark. The most surreal consequence of Uranus's extreme axial tilt is its bizarre and incredibly long seasons. A year on Uranus, the time it takes to complete one orbit around the Sun, is 84 Earth years long, because the planet is lying on its side. For a quarter of that journey, one of its poles is pointed directly at the Sun, while the other is plunged into complete darkness. This means that if you were at the North Pole of Uranus, you would experience a day that lasts for 21 Earth years of continuous, dim sunlight. During this time, the Sun would not rise or set, but would simply circle around high in the sky. Following this incredibly long summer day, the planet would continue in its orbit, and the Sun would begin to dip toward the horizon, leading to a 21-year-long autumn. Then, as the pole turns away from the Sun, it would enter a period of polar night that lasts for another 21 years, a deep, cold, and absolute darkness. Finally, a 21-year-long spring would follow as the pole begins to turn back toward the distant Sun. A single day-night cycle at the pole, therefore, lasts for 42 years. It is a timescale that is difficult for a human mind to grasp, a lifetime of light followed by a lifetime of darkness. The sunlight at Uranus is dim and faint, only a pale whisper of the light we know on Earth, so even the long summer day would be a period of perpetual, cold twilight. The long winter night would be a time of profound, deep cold, as the region radiates away what little heat it has into the blackness of space. To imagine an existence here is to imagine a life of immense, slow, and patient cycles. It is a world where time moves on a grand planetary scale, a quiet and serene meditation on the slow, inexorable, and peaceful turning of the seasons. While Saturn is famous for its broad, bright, and magnificent rings, Uranus possesses a ring system of a very different character. The rings of Uranus are subtle, dark, and mysterious. They were not discovered until 1977, and they remain one of the most understated and beautiful features of the outer solar system. There are 13 known rings, and they are incredibly narrow and well-defined, more like a series of fine, concentric pencil lines drawn around the planet than a broad, shimmering sheet. Unlike Saturn's rings, which are made of bright, reflective water ice, the rings of Uranus are composed of extremely dark material. The particles are thought to be a mixture of water ice and some kind of dark, carbon-rich organic compound processed by radiation over billions of years. As a result, they reflect very little light, making them as dark as charcoal and very difficult to see. From our vantage point close to the planet, we can see them as slender black hoops against the slightly brighter backdrop of the starry sky. They are delicate and graceful, a minimalist and elegant contrast to the grandeur of Saturn. These rings are also kept in their narrow, well-defined shapes by small shepherd moons, tiny satellites that orbit just inside or just outside a ring, their gravity acting like a sheepdog to keep the ring particles from spreading out. A final moment here could be a peaceful drift through this dark, quiet ring system. It is to float among particles as black as coal, to witness the subtle beauty of these thin, dark lines, a quiet and final appreciation of the most delicate and understated piece of cosmic art in our solar system. Our gentle journey to the serene, sideways giant now reaches its quiet conclusion. Having witnessed its strange, tilted orientation, its placid atmosphere, and its dark, slender rings, we now choose a final moment of peaceful merging with the planet itself. We begin a slow, final descent into the upper layers of Uranus's atmosphere. We are entering the hazy, blue-green veil that gives the planet its calm and featureless appearance. This is a region of hydrogen, helium, and methane gas, at a temperature of around -200 degrees Celsius. The cold is profound, deep, and absolute. The end here is not a violent one, not a crushing or a burning, but a simple and gentle freezing. As we sink into the upper atmosphere, the extreme cold begins to permeate our being. All internal motion, all warmth, all energy slowly and peacefully ceases. It is a process of crystallization, of becoming a part of the planet's cold, static upper layers. We can imagine our form becoming coated in a delicate layer of methane frost, the same substance that creates the hazy veil of the planet. We become a tiny frozen speck, a single motionless particle suspended in the vast, silent aquamarine atmosphere. There is no struggle, only a quiet and willing surrender to the fundamental nature of this cold and distant world. We are now a part of the planet's serene and placid face, a silent, frozen component of the gentle blue-green haze. It is a final, deep and dreamless sleep, adrift forever in the quiet, cold and beautiful atmosphere of the sideways giant, rolling silently through the deep, dark night of the outer solar system. We leave the quiet, aquamarine serenity of Uranus and continue our journey outward, to the very edge of the planetary realm. Our next destination is the eighth and final planet from the Sun, a world of stunning color and surprising immense power. We are arriving at the deep blue world of Neptune. The journey from Uranus to Neptune is another vast leap across the cold and empty darkness. We are now nearly 4.5 billion kilometers from the Sun, a distance so great that it takes sunlight over 4 hours to travel here. The Sun is now just a brilliant distant star, providing little light and almost no warmth. We are in the deep freeze of the solar system. As Neptune grows in our view, it reveals itself to be a world of breathtaking and vibrant color. While Uranus was a pale, gentle aquamarine, Neptune is a deep, rich, and stunning azure blue. It is the color of a deep tropical ocean, a startlingly beautiful jewel in the blackness of space. This incredibly rich blue color, like that of Uranus, is caused by methane in its atmosphere. But Neptune's more vibrant hue suggests there is another, unknown chemical component that enhances the blue. As we draw closer, we see that unlike the placid, featureless face of Uranus, Neptune is a dynamic and active world. We can see faint, bright, white clouds, wispy streaks of methane ice crystals that are whipped around the planet by incredible winds. These have been nicknamed scooters by astronomers because of how quickly they move. We also see large, dark storms reminiscent of Jupiter's Great Red Spot that appear and disappear over the course of years. Neptune is a world of surprising and dramatic weather, a place of immense energy despite its vast distance from the Sun. It radiates more than twice the energy it receives from the Sun, indicating it has a powerful internal heat source, perhaps left over from its formation. This is the last outpost of the planetary solar system, the final giant, a world of deep, beautiful and tempestuous blue. As we enter Neptune's deep blue atmosphere, the first and most powerful force we encounter is the wind. Neptune is the windiest planet in the entire solar system, a world of unimaginably fast and constant currents of air. The winds here can reach speeds of over 2,000 kilometers per hour, far faster than the speed of sound on Earth. These are the fastest, most powerful, and most relentless winds known to humanity. But from our perspective, as we merge with this atmosphere, this is not a violent or terrifying experience. The scale is so immense, and the atmosphere so thick, that these supersonic winds feel not like a storm but like a vast, deep, and unstoppable river. We are simply caught in its current, a tiny, passive object being carried along by a force of planetary scale. We do not fight the current. We become a part of it. We are swept along with the wispy white methane ice clouds, traveling around the entire planet in a matter of hours. The journey is silent, as we are moving with the wind itself. There is no rushing sound, no turbulence, only a sense of swift, effortless, and perpetual motion. These incredible winds are thought to be powered by the planet's internal heat, which drives convection in the atmosphere, and by the planet's rapid rotation. They are a fundamental feature of the planet's nature, the expression of its hidden energy. To be in Neptune's atmosphere is to be carried on this supersonic flow, to surrender all sense of self and direction, and to become a part of the planet's great, silent, and incredibly swift breath. It is a final, exhilarating release into pure, unending motion, a silent, high-speed journey around the beautiful, deep blue world. As we are carried on the great, swift winds of Neptune, we journey to a place that no longer exists, a memory in the planet's atmosphere. When the Voyager 2 spacecraft flew past Neptune in 1989, it photographed a huge, dark, oval-shaped storm system in the planet's southern hemisphere. It was named the Great Dark Spot, and it was strikingly similar to Jupiter's Great Red Spot. It was a massive anticyclonic storm, about the size of the Earth, with brilliant white, wispy clouds dancing around its edges. For a few years, this was the defining feature of Neptune, its own iconic storm. But Neptune is not Jupiter. Its weather is far more changeable. When the Hubble Space Telescope was pointed at Neptune just a few years later, in 1994, the Great Dark Spot was gone. It had completely vanished. Since then, other dark spots have appeared in Neptune's northern hemisphere, and they too have come and gone, lasting for only a few years at a time. To visit the location of the original Great Dark Spot is to meditate on the theme of cosmic impermanence. It is to float in a region of deep blue atmosphere where, just a few decades ago, a storm the size of our own world was raging. It is a quiet reminder that even on the grandest, most powerful planetary scales, things are not permanent. The universe is in a constant state of gentle, or sometimes dramatic, flux. A final moment here is a peaceful reflection on this transient beauty, a quiet appreciation for the immense features that can appear, grace the face of a planet for a time, and then silently fade away, becoming nothing more than a memory in the deep, blue, and ever-changing sky. Our journey on Neptune now takes us deep into its interior, into a realm of theory and imagination, to contemplate one of the most beautiful and incredible ideas in planetary science. We descend far below the windswept cloud tops, into the planet's mantle. Here, thousands of kilometers down, the pressure and temperature are immense. The planet's mantle is not rock but a hot, dense fluid of water, ammonia, and methane ices. Scientists have theorized that in this extreme environment, something truly magical might be happening. The intense pressure could be squeezing the methane molecules so hard that they break apart, releasing their carbon atoms. These carbon atoms would then be compressed together, and under the immense pressure, they would crystallize, forming solid diamonds. Because these solid diamonds are denser than the surrounding fluid mantle, they would then, slowly and gently, begin to rain down toward the planet's core. Imagine this sight: a slow, silent, and endless drizzle of diamonds sinking through the hot, dark, fluid interior of a giant planet. This is not a wild fantasy. Experiments on Earth, using powerful lasers to simulate the conditions inside the ice giants, have successfully created nanodiamonds from methane, lending strong support to this beautiful theory. To contemplate this is to imagine a hidden, secret beauty at the heart of this distant, cold world. A final moment of consciousness, as we are dissociated by the pressure, could be the imagined sight of this diamond rain. A final, peaceful vision of impossible, hidden treasure. A slow, glittering and silent storm in the deep, dark heart of the last true planet. Before we are fully carried away by the winds of Neptune, we shift our perspective outward for a moment, to look at its largest and most unusual moon, Triton. Triton is a fascinating world in its own right, with a thin nitrogen atmosphere and active ice volcanoes that spew plumes of nitrogen frost high into the sky. Its surface is a strange and beautiful cantaloupe terrain of ridges and valleys. But the most remarkable thing about Triton is its orbit. It is the only large moon in the solar system that orbits its planet in a retrograde direction, meaning it travels in the opposite direction of the planet's rotation. This is a strong clue that Triton was not formed with Neptune, but was once a dwarf planet, like Pluto, that was captured by Neptune's gravity long ago. Triton is in a slow, decaying orbit. Over the next few 100 million years, it will spiral closer and closer to Neptune, until it eventually crosses the Roche limit, the point at which the planet's tidal forces will be stronger than the moon's own gravity. At that point, Triton will be gently and completely pulled apart, and its icy debris will form a new, spectacular ring system around Neptune, one that might even rival Saturn's in its beauty. From our vantage point in Neptune's upper atmosphere, we can watch this strange, backward moon move across the sky. It is a final, serene view of a future, slow-motion, creative act of destruction. It is a peaceful meditation on the long, patient, and inevitable dance of gravity, a quiet observation of this captured world before we surrender completely to the planet's atmospheric flow. Our exploration of the beautiful blue world of Neptune has reached its final moments. We have felt its supersonic winds, remembered its transient storms, and imagined the diamond rain in its deep heart. Now, there is only one thing left to do: to let go completely and become one with the planet's defining feature, its incredible motion. The final moments at Neptune are not about a place, but about a process. It is a complete and willing surrender to the fastest winds in the solar system. Our consciousness, now free of any physical form, becomes a part of the atmospheric flow. We are no longer a visitor being carried by the wind, we are the wind itself. We flow silently and effortlessly at 2,000 kilometers per hour around the deep blue globe. We are a part of the great global jet streams that circle the planet in perpetual high-speed motion. We race alongside the white, wispy methane clouds, and we flow around the locations of the great dark storms. The journey is endless and silent. There is no friction, no resistance, only the pure, fluid, and exhilarating sensation of speed. The entire planet is our racetrack, a beautiful azure sphere below us. It is a final act of liberation, a release of all form, all thought, all identity into pure, kinetic energy. We become a whisper in the atmosphere, an unseen current, a silent, supersonic river of gas flowing endlessly, timelessly, around the last and most distant of the solar system's giant planets. It is a final, peaceful dance of pure speed and motion in the cold, beautiful, and deep blue twilight at the edge of the known planetary world. We leave the last of the giant planets behind and push onward, into the third and final zone of our solar system. We are now in the Kuiper Belt, a vast, cold, and dark region beyond the orbit of Neptune, filled with countless small, icy bodies, the leftover building blocks of the solar system. Our destination is the most famous resident of this realm, a small world with a big heart. We are journeying to the dwarf planet Pluto. The journey to Pluto is one of immense distance and profound emptiness. We are now traversing the dark, icy expanse of the Kuiper Belt. The planets we have visited are now far behind us, their orbits small circles near the distant, brilliant point of light that is our Sun. From here, 5.5 billion kilometers away, the Sun appears not as a disk, but as a dazzlingly bright star, thousands of times brighter than the full moon in our sky, but still just a point of light. It casts a dim, pale, and cold illumination over this distant realm. The darkness here is a deep and ancient one, and the cold is absolute, only a few tens of degrees above absolute zero. As we travel, we pass other residents of the Kuiper Belt, small, icy worlds and comets, all moving in their slow, long orbits around the distant Sun. These are the pristine remnants from the formation of our solar system, preserved for 4.5 billion years in the deep freeze of space. Our destination, Pluto, is the king of this realm. For 76 years it was known as the ninth planet, our solar system's small, lonely outpost. In 2006, it was reclassified as a dwarf planet, a new category of celestial object, a recognition of its place as the largest and first discovered member of the Kuiper Belt. As we approach, Pluto and its largest moon, Charon, resolve into view. They form a unique binary system, orbiting a common center of gravity that lies in the space between them. They are locked in a slow, silent, and graceful dance, a double world at the edge of the dark. As we get closer and enter into orbit around Pluto, one feature of this small, distant world immediately captures our attention with its unexpected and profound beauty. Sprawling across a large part of one hemisphere is a vast, smooth, and brightly reflective plain in the perfect shape of a heart. This is Tombaugh Regio, named for Clyde Tombaugh, the astronomer who discovered Pluto in 1930. The heart of Pluto is perhaps the most surprising and wonderful geological feature discovered in the solar system in the 21st century. When the New Horizons spacecraft sent back the first close-up images in 2015, this feature captivated the world. In the coldest, darkest, and most distant corner of our solar system, on a world named for the Roman god of the underworld, we found a symbol of love and warmth. This heart is not just a shape, it is a living, breathing part of the planet. The western lobe of the heart, a vast basin named Sputnik Planitia, is a huge, deep glacier made not of water ice but of frozen nitrogen, methane, and carbon monoxide. This is not a static, dead glacier. It is geologically active. The surface is divided into large, polygonal cells, the signature of slow thermal convection, like a giant lava lamp. The nitrogen ice is slowly churning, with warmer ice from below rising up, cooling, and sinking back down over a cycle of hundreds of thousands of years. This process constantly renews the surface, erasing any impact craters and keeping it perfectly smooth and bright. To see this vast, pale heart against the reddish-brown, cratered terrain of the rest of Pluto is a breathtaking sight. It is a final, peaceful meditation on the unexpected beauty and wonder that the universe can create. A soft, white, gentle heart beating with a slow geological pulse in the deep, cold dark. We now descend from our orbit to explore the landscape at the edge of Pluto's great, frozen heart. Bordering the smooth, nitrogen ice plains of Sputnik Planitia are towering and majestic mountain ranges. But these are not mountains of rock, like the Himalayas or the Rockies on Earth. These are mountains made of Pluto's bedrock material, water ice. At the incredibly cold temperatures of Pluto's surface, where it is below -220 degrees Celsius, water ice is not the brittle substance we know. It is as hard and as strong as rock, and it can form immense, jagged mountain ranges. We see the Hillary Montes and the Tenzing Norgay Montes, named for the first climbers to summit Mount Everest. These mountains rise to heights of 3 to 5 kilometers, as tall as many of the great mountain ranges on Earth. Their surfaces are a reddish-brown color, the result of complex organic molecules called tholins being created as methane ice is irradiated by the faint, distant sunlight. They stand in stark and beautiful contrast to the pale, white nitrogen glaciers that flow around their bases. We can see where the soft, flowing nitrogen ice has lapped up against the hard, unyielding water ice mountains, creating a shoreline of stunning, alien beauty. It is a landscape of incredible contrasts, of soft and hard, of dark and light, of ancient and new. To stand at the base of one of these great mountains of ice and look out over the vast, smooth, convecting plains of the nitrogen heart is to witness a geological drama that is unique in our solar system. It is a place of profound, cold and silent beauty, a final landscape of impossible, wonderful forms. From the surface of Pluto, standing on the edge of its nitrogen heart, we turn our gaze upward to the sky. The sky is black, and the sun is just a very bright star, casting a dim twilight level of light over the landscape. But the sky is not empty. It is adorned with Pluto's family of 5 moons. The largest and closest moon, Charon, is a dominant and unmoving presence. Pluto and Charon are mutually tidally locked, meaning they always show the same face to each other, and Charon hangs motionless in the same spot in the Pluto sky, never rising or setting. It is a huge grey presence, more than half the diameter of Pluto itself, appearing 7 times larger in the sky than our own moon. We can see its own cratered surface and its mysterious dark reddish-brown polar cap. Beyond Charon, we can see Pluto's 4 smaller moons, Styx, Nix, Kerberos, and Hydra. These are not spherical, but are small, irregularly shaped bodies, like elongated potatoes, tumbling chaotically in their orbits. They do not spin in a regular, predictable way, but tumble and wobble as they orbit the Pluto-Charon binary system. To watch them move across the sky would be a strange and hypnotic sight, little points of light that flicker in brightness as their irregular shapes tumble in the dim sunlight. This complex, chaotic, and beautiful system of moons is thought to have been formed from the debris of a giant collision between Pluto and another large Kuiper Belt object billions of years ago. To gaze upon this sky is to feel the quiet, intricate and graceful dance of this distant, miniature solar system. Our journey to the distant, icy world of Pluto now comes to its gentle end. We have marveled at its great, frozen heart, stood in awe of its water-ice mountains, and gazed upon its sky of 5 moons. For our final moments, we choose a place of peace, renewal, and quiet transformation. We move to the center of Sputnik Planitia, the great, smooth western lobe of Pluto's heart. We lie down on the soft, pale plains of nitrogen ice. The ground beneath us is not truly solid, but a very slow-moving, viscous fluid, churning in a convective cycle that lasts for millennia. To rest here is to rest upon the slow, gentle pulse of the planet itself. The end on Pluto is a quiet and clean one. It is a process of slow sublimation. In the thin, tenuous atmosphere and the extreme cold, our form does not melt or decay. Instead, the frozen water ice of our body would slowly, over a vast period of time, transform directly from a solid into a gas, a single molecule at a time. It is the gentlest of dissolutions, a slow fading from existence. Our atoms would become a part of Pluto's thin nitrogen atmosphere, drifting across the plains and mountains, perhaps to freeze out again on the surface as a delicate frost in the long, dark winter. It is a peaceful merging with the active living geology of this distant, surprising world. It is to become a part of the heart, a final, quiet release into the slow, convective breath of a dwarf planet, resting forever under a dim sun and a sky filled with silent, dancing moons. We have journeyed to the edge of the known solar system, but our exploration does not end here. We now push further, into the realm of the theoretical, to a place that we cannot see, but whose presence we can feel. We are going in search of a ghost, a hypothetical world known as Planet 9. We leave Pluto behind and drift deeper into the vast, dark expanse of the Kuiper Belt. The sun is now just the brightest star in a sky filled with countless other stars. We are in the true deep space of our own solar system, a region so far from the sun that its light and gravity are faint and tenuous. It is out here, in this immense and lonely darkness, that scientists believe another world may be hiding. This is not a search based on fantasy, but on quiet, patient observation and mathematics. In the 2010s, astronomers began to notice something strange about the most distant objects in the Kuiper Belt. These small, icy worlds, known as extreme trans-Neptunian objects, were not orbiting the Sun randomly. Their long elliptical orbits were all mysteriously clustered together, pointing in the same general direction and tilted at the same angle relative to the rest of the solar system. This is incredibly unlikely to happen by chance. It is like finding a dozen clocks in a large empty room, all ticking at different speeds, but all with their hands mysteriously pointing to the same number. The most compelling explanation is that there is something else out there, something large and unseen, whose gravity is slowly and patiently shepherding these small worlds into their strange, aligned orbits. Our journey to Planet 9 is therefore not a journey to a known destination, but a gentle act of wandering, a peaceful drift into the theoretical darkness, guided by the faint gravitational whispers of a world we have not yet seen. Based on the gravitational influence it appears to have, astronomers have been able to paint a theoretical picture of what Planet 9 might be like. It is thought to be a world much larger than Earth, perhaps 5 to 10 times more massive, making it a super-Earth or a mini-Neptune. It is likely an ice giant, similar in composition to Uranus and Neptune, with a gaseous atmosphere over a dense fluid mantle of water, ammonia, and methane ices. But what truly defines this hypothetical world is its orbit. It is thought to be in a vast, highly elliptical orbit, hundreds of times farther from the Sun than the Earth. Its year would be immense, perhaps taking 10 to 20,000 Earth years to complete a single circuit around the Sun. At this extreme distance, the Sun would provide almost no light or heat. From the surface of Planet 9, the Sun would appear as nothing more than an exceptionally bright star, indistinguishable from the other stars except for its brilliance. The world would be in a state of perpetual deep twilight, a darkness so profound it is barely illuminated at all. The temperature would be only a few degrees above absolute zero, a place of ultimate deep cold. The landscape, if we could see it, would likely be a dark, frozen, and silent place. If it has an atmosphere, it would be incredibly cold and dense, perhaps with clouds of frozen nitrogen or methane. If it has a surface, it would be a landscape of hard, dark ices, untouched by any significant warmth for billions of years. To imagine being on this world is to imagine being in a place of ultimate solitude and quiet. It is to be on a vast, dark, and lonely world, rolling silently through the deep cosmic night, forever bathed in the faint, cold light of the distant stars. We cannot see Planet 9, but we can feel its presence. Its most tangible quality is its gravity, the silent, invisible force that reaches out across billions of kilometers to shape the outer solar system. This is why we can think of it as a gravitational ghost. Its influence is the only evidence we have of its existence. We can imagine this force as a slow, patient, and gentle hand. Over the course of millions upon millions of years, the faint but persistent gravitational pull of Planet 9 has organized the orbits of the most distant objects in the Kuiper Belt. It has nudged them, guided them, and corralled them into the clustered, aligned formation we see today. It acts as a cosmic shepherd, silently tending to its flock of tiny, icy worlds in the darkness. The gravity of Planet 9 may also explain other mysteries of our solar system, such as the slight tilt of the Sun's own axis relative to the orbits of the planets. It may be that the immense, tilted orbit of this distant world is exerting a slow, steady pull on the entire solar system, gently twisting it over the course of eons. To contemplate Planet 9 is to appreciate the profound and patient power of gravity. It is a force that can act invisibly over unimaginable distances and timescales, creating order and structure out of chaos. It is the quiet, architectural hand that has sculpted our solar system, and the search for Planet 9 is a search for the last, hidden piece of that beautiful, silent architecture. From our hypothetical vantage point on the surface of the dark, cold Planet 9, we turn our gaze back toward the direction of the Sun. The view is one of profound and humbling perspective. The entire solar system that we have just journeyed through, all the worlds from Mercury to Neptune, are now compressed into a tiny, insignificant patch of light. The Sun is the brightest star in our view, but the planets themselves are invisible to the naked eye, lost in the glare or too faint to be seen. Our entire home, our entire world, all the drama of the planets and their moons, is contained within that single distant point of light. From here we are truly on the outside, looking in. We are on the edge of our own home, gazing back at it from across an almost unimaginable gulf of space. The Milky Way would stretch across the sky in a brilliant, dense band of light, far brighter and clearer than from Earth, as there would be no significant atmosphere to dim the view. We are surrounded not by our own solar system, but by the galaxy. This perspective instills a deep sense of peace and scale. It is a final letting go of our familiar local perspective and an embrace of a truly cosmic one. The end here is a final moment of quiet observation, of gazing upon our distant, tiny home, a single point of light among billions, and feeling a sense of peaceful release into the vast, beautiful and silent emptiness of it all. Our journey to the hypothetical Planet 9, a world we cannot see but can only infer, requires a final moment that is equally conceptual. There is no surface to land on, no atmosphere to sink into. The only true essence of this world that we know is its gravity. Therefore, the final end here is a peaceful dissolution into the gravitational field of this unseen world. Imagine our consciousness, untethered from any physical form, expanding outward, not as light or energy, but as a subtle influence, a tiny, insignificant addition to the planet's gravitational pull. We become a part of the silent, invisible force that is shaping the farthest reaches of our solar system. We are a part of the gentle, patient shepherding of the distant, icy worlds. Our existence is no longer one of matter, but of influence. We are a whisper of gravity, an eternal, silent, and invisible presence in the deep, cold dark. There is no final sensation, no final thought, only a state of being that is pure, timeless, and fundamentally connected to the great, underlying structure of the cosmos. It is the most peaceful of all endings, a final, complete, and utter release of self into the quiet, mathematical elegance of the laws of nature. We become a part of the ghost, a silent, unseen guardian at the edge of our solar system, forever a part of the mystery and the beautiful, silent order of the universe. We have journeyed to the farthest known and hypothetical reaches of our solar system. Now, for our final chapter, we take one last step, leaving our home system entirely and venturing out into the great, open ocean of the space between the stars. Our journey now takes us past the orbit of Planet 9, past the scattered disk of the Kuiper Belt, to the very boundary of our solar system. We are approaching the heliopause, the theoretical edge where the solar wind, the stream of particles from our sun, finally collides with the thin gas of the interstellar medium and dissipates. This is the true edge of the sun's embrace, the final frontier of our home. As we pass through this boundary, the feeling is a subtle one. There is no wall, no dramatic event. It is a quiet and gentle transition. The faint, tenuous breath of our own star fades away behind us, and for the first time we feel the faint, even more tenuous breath of the galaxy, the whisper of winds from other long-dead stars. Looking back, our sun is now just a bright star, indistinguishable from the countless others around it, except that we know it is our own. The family of planets that we have visited are completely invisible, their tiny orbits lost in the immense distance. We are now in interstellar space, the vast, quiet, and ancient emptiness between the stars. The sense of scale is absolute. We are a single, silent point of awareness in an ocean of unimaginable size. The nearest star is over 4 light-years away, a journey that would take a modern spacecraft tens of thousands of years. The quiet here is deeper than any we have yet experienced. It is the silence of the void, the peace of true emptiness. Our journey is no longer a tour of worlds, but a final, peaceful drift into the endless open cosmos. Here, in the vast, silent emptiness of interstellar space, we might expect to find a perfect and absolute nothingness. But the void is not truly empty. It is filled with a thin, tenuous soup of atoms, dust, and cosmic rays, the interstellar medium. And it is also filled with a kind of sound, a deep, ancient, and profoundly peaceful resonance. This is not sound in the way we know it, which requires a medium like air to travel. This is the music of the spheres, the faint, low-frequency hum of the universe itself. We can imagine sensing the gentle pressure of the interstellar medium, the faint magnetic fields that thread through the galaxy, connecting the stars. More profoundly, we can imagine feeling the passage of gravitational waves. These are ripples in the fabric of space-time itself, generated by the most cataclysmic events in the universe, such as the collision of two black holes or the explosion of a supernova. They travel across the cosmos at the speed of light, carrying with them the memory of these distant, powerful events. But by the time they reach us, they are incredibly faint, stretching and compressing the space we are in by only a tiny, imperceptible amount. To be in interstellar space is to be floating in an ocean of these ancient echoes. It is to feel the faint, residual vibrations of the Big Bang itself, the cosmic microwave background radiation that fills all of space. The silence of the void is not empty. It is a full and resonant silence, a deep, cosmic hum. That is the background music of existence itself. As we drift in the interstellar void, our perspective undergoes its final and most profound shift. Our own sun has now faded to become just one of the many stars that surround us. We are no longer a part of our solar system, we are a citizen of the galaxy. The sky around us is a brilliant 360-degree panorama of stars. There is no up or down, no horizon, only the endless, beautiful and patient light of other suns. We are surrounded by infinite possibility. Each point of light is another star, and a great many of them, as we now know, have their own families of planets. There are other gas giants, other rocky worlds, other ice giants, and perhaps other pale blue dots teeming with life. From this vantage point, our journey through our own solar system seems like a tour of just one single, tiny neighborhood in a city of billions upon billions of stars. The stories we have told, the ends we have imagined on each world, could be just one of an infinite number of possible stories. This is not a frightening or overwhelming thought, but a deeply peaceful one. It is a final release into the grand, beautiful, and humbling context of the whole. We are a part of something so vast, so ancient, and so filled with wonder that it is beyond our ability to fully comprehend. A final moment here is a quiet and grateful acceptance of this beautiful truth. It is to let our own single point of consciousness dissolve into this panorama of light, becoming one with the combined, gentle, and ancient starlight of the entire galaxy. Having merged with the starlight of the galaxy, we can now contemplate the ultimate, final, and most peaceful of all possible endings. We step outside of our own time and imagine the far, far future of the universe itself. This is a timescale so vast it makes the age of the universe so far seem like a fleeting moment. We are thinking in trillions upon trillions of years. In this distant future, the universe will be a very different place. All the stars will have long since burned out. The galaxies will have dissolved. The universe will be a cold, dark, and incredibly dilute soup of scattered, dead stars, black holes, and stray subatomic particles. This is the era of heat death, a state of maximum entropy, where there is no more usable energy, no more complexity, no more change. But even this is not the final end. On a timescale that is almost impossible to write down, it is theorized that even the fundamental particles of matter, like protons, will themselves decay. Every last bit of matter in the universe will slowly, gently, and peacefully dissolve into a sea of low-energy photons and other fundamental particles. This is the slowest, most gentle, and most complete of all endings. It is the final, soft exhale of the universe itself. It is not a dramatic or violent end, but a slow, graceful fading into a state of perfect, simple, and eternal quiet. To contemplate this is to find the ultimate peace, the final surrender to the inevitable, gentle, and all-encompassing flow of time. We have reached the end of all things, the final, quiet fading of the universe itself. And so, our journey concludes with one final, simple act. We form a single, last, untethered thought. This thought is not for ourselves, for the self has long since dissolved. It is not for our home, for our solar system has long since vanished. It is a simple and pure thought of gratitude. It is a quiet thank you for the brief, beautiful, and improbable journey of consciousness. Gratitude for the existence of stars, of planets, of the laws of physics that allowed such complexity to arise from such simplicity. Gratitude for the colors, the silences, the motions, the temperatures, the textures of all the worlds we have visited. This thought, this feeling of peaceful and profound appreciation, is then gently released. It is not aimed at anything or anyone. It is simply let go, to drift forever in the endless quiet and beautiful emptiness of the final state of the universe. It is a single, silent, and eternal echo of a journey that once was. It is the final, perfect, and most peaceful end, a single mote of gratitude in the vast, dark, and silent ocean of forever. And now, our long journey through space and time is complete. We have traveled from the fiery heart of the sun to the cold, dark silence of interstellar space, from the beginning of our solar system to the final, gentle end of the universe itself. And now, it is time to come home. Gently, slowly, bring your awareness back from the vast, cosmic ocean to the quiet, peaceful space around you. Leave the stars and the planets behind, and return to the simple, present reality of your own room. Feel the weight of your body, supported and comfortable. Feel the soft texture of the blankets or sheets against your skin. Notice the gentle, rhythmic, and effortless rise and fall of your own breath. The vast, cosmic peace that we found in the interstellar void is the very same peace that is available to you now, in this quiet moment. The silence of the space between the stars is the same silence that holds you now. You have journeyed far, and now you are back, safe and sound, in the quiet harbor of your own rest. Let the story of the cosmos fade, like a gentle dream you are already beginning to forget. Let the names of the planets and the details of their landscapes dissolve into a soft, warm feeling of peace and wonder. There is nothing left to do, nothing left to explore. The journey is over. There is only the quiet, the comfort, and the gentle, welcoming pull of a deep and restorative sleep. Tonight, we have journeyed to the edge of imagination, transforming the idea of an end into a quiet and gentle merging with the cosmos. From the light of the sun to the darkness between the stars, we have found that every place in this universe has its own unique and profound peace. The cosmos is not something separate from us. It is the substance from which we are made, and the home to which we will, in some form, always belong. Now you have my permission to let go of this narration, to let go of my voice. Allow the journey to end, and allow a deeper, more restful journey to begin. Embrace the stillness, and welcome the peaceful, deep, and dreamless sleep that awaits you. Rest now, dear traveler. Rest now. If you are still awake, what a patient and wonderful traveler you are. What did you feel as we imagined these final, peaceful moments? There is no need to answer, just a gentle question to hold as you drift off. Thank you for joining me on this quiet journey tonight. If you have found a moment of peace here, a like or subscription helps to support the creation of more calm explorations for others to enjoy. The vastness of space holds an infinity of stories, each waiting to be told. When you are ready for another quiet tale, our library of cosmic journeys is always here for you. But for now, the universe will wait. Simply rest.